There you are. Perfect. Okay, so just make sure your mic is muted on that Video Ninja thing, and I've got your mic
One
through
second.
Discord. Yeah.
Yes, muted.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello. This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick little mic check. Recording mic check 1 2 3. Podcast Scars of Honor. Can you quickly say like some random sentence?
Of course. Hey guys, it's such an honor having me here with you, and I hope the mic is perfect. It's not the best, but it could be very decent.
Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna go ahead and test that video real quick. So I have to do this just because I don't have my audio tracks separated like other professional streamers do. It's kind of annoying for me to do it. So I have my for these podcasts, I need to like just make sure I double check, because I've had situations before where I've done a podcast and the audio didn't pick up and I couldn't upload it. Like it was just it was done. Yeah, it was really bad. So sorry. I just wanted to check this here. Give me one sec. Recording mic check 1 2 3. Podcast Scars of Honor. Can you?
Of course. Hey guys, it's such an honor having me here with you, and I hope the mic is perfect.
Okay, can you say something really quick? The only thing was that I think there's a little desync. Can you say something real quick?
Okay, a mic test. Mic test. Do you guys hear me?
There's a slight desync. I don't know if that. Guys, do you hear me? I'm not desynced, right? It's just him, right? Oh man. Yeah, it's just him. Oh man. Oh wait. It's like a half-second delay. It's not horrible. It's fine. Yeah, I don't want to like hold you up too long. Wait, can you say something real quick one more time? It's gonna be a nightmare for my editor to like match this up.
Let's give another try of the audio to see if it's synced. Hopefully it is right now, but
yeah, we'll fix it. I'm so sorry, editor. Oh, ALW is gonna be so mad because the problem is I'm not desynced, guys. And if I'm not desynced, he can't just detach the audio and sync it. He has to go through each fucking line that Armageddon's. You know what I mean? It's okay. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, that's fine. It's normal.
Don't worry.
When you're recording with a Discord audio. Yeah. Wait, would it be better if I had him send his mic through? No, that probably won't work. Yeah.
I think the best would be. I tried it recently. If you take the window, if I give my camera to Discord, and you take the audio and the video from Discord, and you just pick a window, and then you slice me up, so you get the
know
video,
what?
then I'll be perfectly safe.
Yeah, let's try that. That might actually be better. Okay. Yeah.
I'll go off Video Ninja.
Yeah.
Okay, so now try to get it from. Separate me. You can pop me out.
Yep. Gonna pop you out. Yeah.
And you can then cut me.
Yeah.
And I think it will be synced.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I should be able to do this via window capture.
Yeah, exactly.
Discord, Armageddon. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, that way it should be synced.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop us. Even my failing internet cannot stop us. So once more, this sync is not a problem.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I think this is much better. Much better. We're saved. Oh shit. Yeah, hold on. Let's do it this way here. Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Great.
Beautiful. Okay. So better. Yeah. The quality is actually much better too. I apologize. So I have an issue with caffeine. So I'm just gonna really quickly run to the bathroom and we're gonna get this started, okay? And while I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and burn an ad, guys, so that the delay between ads is longer, okay? So 3-minute ad coming in, and then after the ad, we're gonna get started, okay? I'll be right back. You can
Perfect.
feel free to talk with my chat if you'd like. Be right back.
That was a quick ad, looks like. Okay, guys, what we can do, we can sit here and just watch each other like strangely. This is what we can do while the guy is back. This is what we can do. How are you guys doing, by the way? What do you think about my MMO mug? I was just trying to ask the chat what they think about my great MMO mug. I
That
think
looks
they
pretty
liked it.
cool. It does look pretty cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah. People think it's heavy, but it's not. It's just a replica, but a really cool one.
I'm gonna go ahead and start recording right now. Okay, so we got a minute and 30 seconds. For those of you who are subbed to the channel, not getting hit by the ad, you guys get a nice little exclusive here behind the scenes, I guess. And then we'll start the intro in about a minute. By the way, thank you, Armagon. Am I saying that right? By the way, Armagon, is it Armagon?
Yes, it doesn't matter, to be honest. I'm only getting like it's getting funny to me when people say Armageddon. Like it has nothing with Armageddon, but people are like butchering it that way. So as long as you're not saying Armageddon, it's all cool.
I mean, that was one of my favorite movies. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
How
But
old
not
are
so,
you,
but
by the
not.
way, if you don't mind me asking? This isn't going to
Of
be in
course,
the
no,
YouTube.
no.
Yeah.
Every question is like allowed. I have nothing to hide. So 34. 34. I was young once. Once I was young. Now I'm not that young.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, 34 is still pretty young, to be fair. It's still pretty young.
Depends who ask. Go and ask somebody who is 24.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Well, honestly, having a little bit of age and leading an MMO project, I think it's a good thing. I don't know. I feel like my confidence in the project would probably be a little bit lower if you were like actually 24. I'd be like, okay, with this guy, hopefully, what's he gonna know about the MMOs?
We should believe in the young. We should believe in the young, but I'm not, unfortunately, that young. So.
Okay, all right. Looks like the ad is officially over. Are you ready to get this thing going?
100%.
Perfect. All right, welcome in, guys. Today we've got a special guest. We're going to be talking about Scars of Honor with the founder. I'm not actually super familiar with what your official title is. Maybe you can give us a quick little intro. Tell us who you are.
Okay, so my name is Veselin Vasiljev. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm the CEO of Beastburst Entertainment and the creative director of Scars of Honor. And I started this project. It was a passion project back then in 2020. In 2020, we established the company, but I started a little bit earlier before that, making the whole game alone. And that's the very gist of my very short explanation of who I am.
Okay, great. So that is actually the first question I wanted to ask you, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you probably don't have the topics/questions. You'll probably see them as timestamps below. Twitch chat gets to see a list of all the topics and questions that we have planned. The first one being, who is Armagon? Could you, I know you just introduced yourself, but could you give us a little bit more, I guess, insight as to who you are as a person, and I guess how this project even really started for you?
So I think one of the most important things for me that kind of connects with the whole MMORPG development is the fact that I am by profession a programmer. I am writing actively in several different languages currently. Unfortunately, I'm not writing that much because I have a lot of duties with the company. But I have completed a lot of projects in C, C++, C Sharp. This is what where we are, or the language we are using for making the game client with Unity. A lot of programming background. And for me, always the biggest motivator behind making something was the curiosity of how this thing is done. And seeing this thing made and seeing the feedback, positive and negative, doesn't matter, but seeing the feedback from the people for something that I've made is bringing me the biggest joy in my life. I many times in many previous projects which I have completed, and they are always a public projects. When I was hearing the other side using the thing that I created and seeing the how they enjoy was bringing like immense happiness to me. So combination between both, between trying to understand how things work and trying to make something that I know will make a lot of people happy. In this is my driving force for everything that I am doing right now and everything that I did previously. So that's the very like macro explanation who I am.
Great, great. So why an MMO? Scars of Honor is an MMO, right? Why did you decide to create an MMO?
First of all, because of my, as I said, because of my drive to understand, hey, this is a very complex project. How does it work? As I said in the very beginning of the interview, for me, the moment when I see a game, I'm really asking myself, can we? What are what is the tech behind? And when I went into MMO, I think it was 2024 not 2024, 2004. When I went into World of Warcraft, I was impressed by the fact that there are other people online moving, and that was like, oh my god, because that was my first interaction with MMORPG back then. And uh, this was the whole reason why I went in general into tech, because when I went there, I wanted to understand how things are made. Then I started experimenting with different softwares and trying to learn open source, trying to make projects. And back then, I first started made the great mistake to start first with C++ to kind of get to in programming. And back then we had a single core PCs and CPUs. I'm sorry if I'm bothering everyone with technical stuff,
No, you're
but back
good.
then it was like I was waiting like 40 minutes. I was waiting 40 minutes to see my error. And I was like, oh my God, I need to repeat it again. And this is what kind of translated me into PHP, where whatever a mistake, whatever stupid stuff I'm writing at the moment when I click save, I'm seeing it right away. So it helped me. Basically, my entrance into tech was due to gaming. And when you ask me why MMORPG in first place, I need to fast forward several years after that. I was a CTO in a payment gateway company, and everything was running well. There were no more challenges because we kind of conquered all that was requested for the business. Business was running well. And after working hours, I was okay, I need to challenge myself with something. And what is bigger challenge than say I will make an MMORPG alone? Like this is crazy. This is crazy when you say it, but on the other side, you also will learn quite a lot compared to making some small to the game. And that was the reason why. And combine this with my passion of for World of Warcraft back in the day, because I was hugely inspired from World of Warcraft when I started Scars of Honor. Although we made quite a lot of tweaks and changes. Now, right now, we're inspired from many different games. But this is what probably answers the question why MMORPG. It's not because it's the easiest. It's exactly the opposite, because it's the hardest, and you can learn a lot from that journey.
I mean, that's a fantastic mindset. What about your favorite MMOs? Can you tell us what your favorites are? You
Um,
mentioned World of Warcraft already.
World of Warcraft, what it was back in the day, was definitely a mind-blowing game for me, for so many reasons. So first, the social aspect. I'm a personal believer that in MMORPG genre, you should be playing with other people. I don't think MMORPGs needs to be converted into single player games where solo activities are more important than group activities, because I don't believe MMORPGs will ever be better in single player perspective compared to, let's say, a game like Elden Ring. Elden Ring, you have a small multiplayer mode where you can definitely play it in multiplayer, but it's strong in single player. And I think we need to pick these things and kind of work on them. And that was my biggest inspiration. Then I got into a little bit of old school RuneScape because of friends and saying, hey, there are really cool things in here. I really like the gathering and crafting systems that exist in old school RuneScape, although I'm not an expert in that game. Then I went very recently to basically investigate everything that is on the market and see what is happening in there. And to be honest, not here to make an advertise or anything like that, I was pleasantly surprised that uh, personally, because we are making that product, I still believe that for 20 years after World of Warcraft was released, there is a huge gap in the market that is there for the taking. And I believe that MMORPGs that are respecting the true nature of MMORPGs is what will drive back people's attention to the genre. But yeah, if I have to say one game that was like my introduction to MMORPGs, it's definitely World of Warcraft. I have tried New World as well, really cool game. I'm really sad that it didn't went well. I don't know why. It looks like it had like very good numbers and stuff. They know best. But yeah, this is pretty much my interactions with other MMORPGs.
So you mentioned how no one's really been able to capture that essence or the nature of a true MMORPG or a good one, right? What would you say that is then? What is your definition of it? What needs to be
So
captured?
for me, it is we need to first focus on the social aspect. We need to create systems like our dungeon system. Maybe we'll go later in details about because I see you have PV content where probably we'll go there. But for me, as I said, it's very important to distinguish that MMORPGs are massively multiplayer games. These are the first two letters of the codem genre. So we need to focus on that while providing the solo content in a funnel where, for example, if you want to level up, if you want to do these kind of things, you can definitely do that. But the more rewarding aspect should always be the group focus of the game, and then combine these with systems that are not chores. Systems that are not okay. If I don't log in today, I'm punished. If I don't log in 2 weeks, I will be in a situation where if I go in the battleground, everybody will destroy me. Or if I go in a dungeon, I'm irrelevant anymore. These are things which in 2026, I don't think are the correct way to approach this. Why? First, because the MMORPG audience is most likely like 90% around my age, and these people are super busy. So we cannot rely on them to be 24/7 in and grind endlessly. We need to find a smart way so that we can also allow new people to join the genre and not feel overwhelmed by somebody who doesn't sleep and stays like 24/7 in the game and has the ultimate gear that can destroy you. Yes, you should give that guy the ability to showcase his power, his dominance, his achievements. 100%. That's the core of MMORPG. So that when you see him, you say, "Oh my God, that guy achieved a lot." But fundamental things needs to be changed in how MMORPGs are made in current days and age. I believe a lot of systems that were introduced in other MMORPGs recently are really harming the games that were like pillars of the genre, that are shifting the focus of the core audience, because the core audience of the MMORPG genre is not the Sims audience. It's not the audience that is here like pretty much on a mobile level where every day I'll send you notification, go in, make the daily quests. So I don't like these kind of path which currently the MMORPG genre is taking, and I believe Scars of Honor is making a hard turn on this with complete different systems, which I believe later in the interview we'll cover.
Sure, sure. I mean, all of that sounds fantastic. However, the MMO genre is so difficult to figure out. And I use this analogy quite often. It really is like choosing ice cream, right? You have like a Guild Wars 2 where the horizontal progression, right? And then you have like a Black Desert Online where it's completely vertical, right? Both have its pros and cons. And I'm very interested to hear how you plan on kind of balancing this, because it almost does feel like a genre that's impossible to please everyone. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here, because we do have a section specifically for that. We've got the vertical / horizontal / reset section. So let's talk about more of that in that section. I would like to move on to my next question, just on the list, so that people following or watching on YouTube can, make sure they're not missing out by clicking through the timestamps. But what is Scars of Honor? I know that's a very broad and loaded question, but without going into too many details, because obviously we're going to be going over those details in this podcast or in this interview, can you tell me in a nutshell, what is Scars of Honor exactly?
So, Scars of Honor is a free-to-play MMORPG, primarily focused on PC, with no pay-to-win aspects. Why free-to-play? Because I believe it is super important to open up the gates to as much as possible people to join the game. MMORPGs, they live and die by the numbers.
Yes.
And I don't want to create artificial paywall in front of the product. The more people are in, the better MMORPG we have. And that's the very brief, like one sentence or two I can say to explain what Scars of Honor is, knowing that we're going to cover a lot of details later.
Amazing, amazing. What was the inspiration? I know we spoke a little bit about this, and some of these are a little bit repetitive. Bear with me, guys, because again, I am trying to do this so that people that click into the timestamps on YouTube, click into it and they get their answer in that timestamp. But what exactly was the inspiration for you behind Scars of Honor?
So, Scars of Honor is basically inspired from several games. Definitely World of Warcraft. We have a lot of inspiration from Path of Exile, and I'm a huge fan of Grinding Gear games and what they achieved. I really like studying Chris Wilson and everything that he achieved, because I really find a lot of similarities between the philosophies that he has preached for years, and I like what he have built. I like the community of Path of Exile, and I'm 100% confident that this can exist in MMORPG. So we have the inspirations are a mix between several good games and good mechanics that are brought into an MMORPG. It's not just one game anymore. It used to be one at the beginning, but now it's not just one. Scars of Honor and Path of Exile are really at the front of it. On one side, the League of Legends was inspiration for the monetization model. I was always showcasing this game, or World of Tanks. These are free-to-play games that are doing quite well. And if these games can do this, and for example, also on the monetization level, Path of Exile is also a great example. But if those have achieved it, why an MMORPG in 2026 should not be able to achieve that? And this was the driving force in assembling the team and going after the project.
Amazing. Yeah. So I've been, just so that I've been actually trying my best to stay away from information in regards to this game until after this podcast interview, because a lot of the people that are going to be watching this on my channel are going to be people that just don't know very much about your project. And I wanted to ask questions from the perspective of someone that just doesn't know very much about it. But one of the things I did notice was some of the skill trees did look very much PoE-esque. Is that something that we can expect? Is there going to be a lot of build
100%.
diversity?
100%. I'm in an active discussion with the game design Alex, I had a stream on my channel last Sunday. So guys, if you missed that, you can go there and watch it. But he's a huge fan of Path of Exile, and he's like, "Oh my God, we need to have 300 nodes, etc. It needs to be super complex." And I was like, "Okay, Alex, I understand that, but we also need to do a one level above that. We need to make sure that you don't have just 300 node talents where +5 strength, +5 stamina, and it's just that boring to just go over numbers. Definitely, we need to have this, but we call it a minor nodes. But we need to have a class definition. For example, choosing a specific play style, then obtaining new spells through the talent tree, then modifying existing spells through the talent tree. So it's more of what you see in Path of Exile. It's inspired from Path of Exile, but it's another take, and it's implemented in MMORPGs.
I mean, that sounds pretty impressive. It does. Being an ARPG guy myself, I've played a lot of I've played a decent amount of ARPGs. I dove pretty heavy into a few of them, into a couple of them at least, and I really like that. And we're definitely going to be talking more about that in the following sections. But I do want to move on and ask you about your team. Now, you are the guy, right? Like, am I understanding that correctly? You are the head honcho, the guy that is, the creative director, the main director of this project. You are steering you're steering the ship here.
Oh, well, basically, I'm the CEO. I'm steering the ship. I'm the person who takes the most important decisions. That's definitely a fact. But I don't want to take the spotlight from the
Sure.
amazing team of Beastbars.
Of
We are all
course.
making that great game. It's not only me.
Of course, of course. So how big is your team? And you mentioned earlier that you were developing this on your own for a while. How big is your team?
Yes. So currently, we are around 80 people, just directly hired from Beastbars Entertainment. But we are constantly working with a lot of outsourcing studios. So currently, we have around 3 outsourcing studios that we have hired for tasks. And we don't want to go like super big, because for me it is more important as Scars of Honor to stay the Beastbars team to stay lean until we prove the monetization model, until we prove the solid grounds before we scale it to higher numbers. Team size, it's that much,
How long have you
and I
been
would like to keep that size. Yeah.
Okay, how long have you been developing this game?
So me personally, I worked on this 3 years, pretty much every single day alone. I worked
Wow.
on this, and this starts from 2017 up to 2020. I worked pretty much alone on this because of passion, because of, hey, it's such a cool thing to do. The moment when I invited my wife, and she played with another character, and we were moving online, and I was like, oh my God, I did it! It's so cool. I made a system from scratch that allows you to interact online. And end of 2019, I shared in a Facebook group about Scars of Honor, about what it is, etc. And for no time, it gathered like 10,000 followers. And I was like mind blown about the positive feedback that I was getting back then. The game was looking really crappy, nothing to lie about. For those of you who dig, you can guys see there are even naked characters, so it was definitely a funny thing. But it was for me an experience, a demo that allowed me to understand pretty much the whole aspects of what it takes to make a game. Because when I started, I only knew programming. I didn't know what 3D is, what texture is, what UV is, what rigging is, what animation is, how do you connect those things, how do you make, what is high poly, what is low poly, how do you make the model game ready, occlusion culling, and all kind of techniques. I was pretty much unaware of them and why they were needed in general. But these 3 years were like my university on steroids. I didn't went to game design school or whatever school that taught me this. It was pure passion, pure motivation that allowed me to go deep and understand at least the requirements of how can I go on an interview if I'm hiring you, for example, as a 3D character artist? Like, what are the questions? Because I'm the first guy there. There's nobody else. It's just
Mm-hmm.
me. so how can I understand that you're good enough for the task? You're up for the task. I need to at least have some sort of a conversation, and then at the end of the day, I need to give you task and understand and evaluate, are you doing it in time? And I need to learn from you, because you should be better than me in that, if you're a 3D character professional. So that gave me a lot of knowledge. Then 2020 happened. You know what specific event happened in these years? It was a lot of people sitting on PCs, and the huge boom of a player base went into a lot of games. And with the recent success of what I did, I told you earlier, I was a CTO. I started as a developer, grew up into CTO of a financial banking software, a payment gateway. And I had a conversation with my boss back then, who is now my partner, and I'm super happy with that. He was like, "Hey, I have seen what you have achieved, and it's so good. So, what do you think? Let's make a company out of this. Let's give it a go." And I was like, "No, no, no, no. I'm afraid of going that route, because I know how huge this thing is. I know that this is a long development journey where you can basically fail at any specific time. It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk, and I'm a person who doesn't have a track record with 3 MMORPGs behind his back. And to be honest, I think even that is not enough in these days, because we have a lot of examples of people, veterans from the genre, failing
Yeah.
to deliver the project because of so many reasons why it could die before it's born. And I kind of postponed it. Then it went a little bit of time. I developed a little bit more, and I had another meeting where the breaking point for me for that decision was um, the moment when my boss, back at the time, now my partner, asked me, "Hey, see what you have achieved alone. Now imagine if you have 50 people behind your back, what you could do." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's a one in a lifetime opportunity. Let's just give it a go, because I don't want to be in a position 6 years from now to say, hey, I'm so sad that I missed that opportunity." And from 2021, because 2020, the whole year was like negotiations and seeing if this could work, understanding the genre, potential risks. And 2021, the first days of the year, the first two people started. I welcome the first two people. Shout out to Puffy Muffins and Bojidar, who were like the first people from the company. And after that, it's like 5 years in development. We are super happy with the current state of the game. We want to focus not a lot on content and amount of content. We want to focus more on quality,
Mm.
especially with everything that is in front of us at the moment. We know that people, if they come and they see the quality, they will be impressed, because they will know that the quantity will come. But
Right.
if we have just a quantity without quality, it's like a different take, which I don't want to go in that route.
Right. It kind of sounds like another failed startup that we saw recently. But so it kind of sounds like, just to kind of summarize what you said, if we were to summarize the timeline here, it sounds like this was a passion project that you had started on your own for 3 or 4 years, and then starting in roughly around 2021 ish. That's when you
Yes.
essentially signed a deal to work with a partner who helped you bring on this team and build this team. You got your first couple of
Yes.
team members within that year or two. And then ever since, for the past 5 years, since 2021, you guys have been just slowly, adding blocks to your team and ramping with the MMO development time. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So this is a question that is not on the list, but I have to ask it because it's something that I see my chat is constantly referring back to. Right. Couple of
Yeah.
things to continue on this topic, but Ashes of Creation, it has been a very polarizing game, right? And I think a lot of people feel very uneasy with these passion projects or these indie games or these Kickstarter games and just new games in general, right? Rightfully so. I'd like to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on Ashes, but I'd also like to hear I'd also like to hear some of the details to your business in your company, because ultimately that's what this is, right? The MMO, even though it is a passion project for you, which I totally get that, but at the end of the day, it is, it is going to be burning a lot of money, and it's not practical for one person to just self-fund it unless you're just insanely rich. So I would love to ask you about that dynamic. What's going on here? Do you have a secret backer that actually owns the company, and you can't do anything, or is it you? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, can you give us some
Yeah.
insights there?
So, starting from the spicy question, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a person who funded. By evaluation of the current company, yes, you can say that, but this is not money that I have in the bank. So, guys, I'm not funding the project myself. This is a huge shout out to my partner, my previous boss back in the day, who basically single-handedly funded everything so far. But it's not me. This is also a blessing, but it's also a negativity at the moment because um, I have the full freedom and I have the majority of the company. That's the important part. I have the full freedom to lead it in the creative way I believe so, and he's like my full supporter on how these things needs to be handled. In that sense, I'm fine. But on the other side, every time when there is a problem with his business and stuff, it's a huge risk for us. So at the moment we have all at this stage we have put down investments from huge companies, which I'm not going to mention over here due to the requirements of change the course of the product. I am me and my partners, because we have another angel investor who invested a very small not very small, but a relatively small amount of money at the beginning. It's actually three people in the whole board in Beast Entertainment. We all share the same goals. We all work together. It is a blessing to say this, but we are picking really carefully who will be the next one to join, to make sure that we are having a solid financial. We call it a failover. So if something happens with that business that sustains us at the moment, we have another source of funds where we can continue. So I wish I can say we are funded for the next 25 years. Unfortunately, I cannot say this. I'm more on the situation where I would do my best to make the product as good as possible, as fast as possible, test it with a real feedback from the people, improve upon it, and build upon it over time, rather than creating a team of 300 people that is hard to sustain. So we are approaching it, as I said, really close to how philosophy, how Chris Wilson did it back in the days, with a very lean team to make sure that you prove that the game has the solid foundation. And if you ask me to tell anything about Ashes of Creation, I would just say it's a pity what happened there, because I think every MMORPG that dies, especially in that bad way, is actually hurting the genre. I think less competitors in the genre are actually worse for the genre itself, because if it's just one main game dictating everything that is happening, the genre just dies. And I believe if Ashes of Creation was there, if other games were are joining and they are bringing innovations to the genre, it's just healthy for also for Scars of Honor, because competition brings a lot of great ideas. And if Scars of Honor is one day a competitor in that genre, that would make me like super happy, and that's all I dream of at this stage.
Can I ask how much money has gone into Scars of Honor so far, roughly?
So far, it's one thing that I can say on that side. I don't want to expose an exact number, because this is definitely under not disclosure agreements. But
Sure.
I can tell you that compared to development in, let's say, America, it's 5 times cheaper. It's 5 times cheaper because, as I said, we are based here in Bulgaria and we are using a lot of talent, especially from Europe. I would not lie if I say that we don't have even a single person, unfortunately, from America hire, because it's just too expensive.
Gotcha.
And we are using a window. We are using a window currently with the economy here in Europe and Eastern Europe, in Bulgaria, which I'm pretty sure that 5 years from now it will be closed. I see just financially how only studios that are based in Eastern Europe or in Europe in general are our only hope to bring anything to the genre, because the amount of money needed to develop the same exact thing in America is like 5 times at least, 5 times at least more expensive.
Gotcha. So to kind of just summarize, you have two other partners, one who's an angel investor who has contributed a lesser, let's just say, amount of money, and then you have your main
But
partner
yes,
who has been essentially more or less funding almost the entire project, and then your role, you're the CEO, you're the creative mind, you're the person that does the work, you're on the ground doing the work. And of these three total board members slash shareholders, you currently, which could be subject to change depending
yes,
on, because you are looking for more investors for the future, you are currently the majority shareholder of the group.
yes.
And that's just pretty much the, I guess, corporate dynamic of the business slash company right now. Did I understand that correctly?
100% correct. I would just add one important thing because I think it's cool. Out of those three people, two of us are already working on the in the game like 24/7. It's not just me and two investors.
Gotcha.
The second investor is the angel investor is also like actively daily. This is his main work job that he's doing constantly. So I'm blessed in that sense, and this is why we're so careful to about who comes next.
So, Ashes of Creation, to raise funds slash scam people, they were selling their product early. They were selling an unfinished product, and they were, you know, essentially masking, or however you want to, however you see it or view it, they were essentially selling to the people, hey, we need this to fund our game, to help fund our game. You obviously have funding right now, but funding is not unlimited. As you said, you can't, like, you know, next 25 years, you're not funded for the next 25 years, obviously,
Of
right?
course.
Have you considered selling your game early to backers and kind of going through that Kickstarter route, or are you against that type of approach?
Um, to be honest, many of the people from the chat already know, and this is one of my biggest mistake that I did in the past. And I'm open with my mistakes because I think from mistakes you can always learn.
Absolutely.
We actually went to Kickstarter. Actually went to Kickstarter because um, one of my partners was like, "Hey, there can be a opportunity there. See these projects how they did." I knew because, as I said from the beginning, I'm very deep into the MMORPG genre,
Sure.
and I knew that MMORPG and Kickstarter in one sentence is a recipe for disaster. And I knew that doesn't matter how good of a project I have, it's just not gonna fly. It's just not gonna fly if you go that route. On the other hand, it's just I think that it's already passed. I don't think that's a train you can hop on with a studio and hope that it will solve any issue for us. Why we did it? Mainly because we needed to prove to other investors to have something in our pitch deck that, hey, here is a huge milestone. Here is how we can prove you that this is market validated. So far, the huge wish lists that we are having currently, which by the way are record breaking, which is thank you, big thank you guys. So everyone who have not wish listed it so far, make sure you go to
It's
Steam
on
and wish
Steam,
list it.
guys. It's on
That's
Steam.
all. Yes, that's all we need. That's all we need from you guys. This is the market validation that helps a lot currently. That will help us to, because we are already having negotiations with several potential good investors, and these KPIs are kind of important. But I think we're going a little bit too deep into financials. But if you want, we can definitely go. I don't know how interesting this is for the audience.
I think it's just a sensitive subject, especially mainly because of Ashes. We're actually going to move on to the next
Oh,
thing. I do want to talk to you about your server tech, but to kind of just conclude and summarize that section,
mhm.
or that question rather. Um, Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so to kind of just summarize that that segment there. It sounds like. Sorry, I lost my I lost my train of thought because I was thinking like the server tech. Shoot. Yes, I think we're good. Wait, no, there was definitely
Okay.
something I wanted to
We,
summarize there. I
we can
apologize.
definitely come back. Don't worry,
Yeah,
we can come back.
yeah. No, no, I apologize. Yeah, I guess we'll move on. Sorry, I was just gonna summarize pretty much what you said, but I'm just. You'll have to excuse me. I literally flew in back to
Don't worry.
Korea from the U.S. yesterday, so I'm a little bit still a little bit jet lagged. So yeah, you guys are gonna just have to bear with me here. So let's talk about the game. Yeah, like I said, the whole the financial stuff. I think it's just a lot of people are interested in this because people are just afraid because of what has happened with Ashes of Creation, right? So yeah, let's move on
No,
and
but that's normal.
yeah.
That's normal. That's healthy. That's how I think people should be at that specific moment. They need to be careful.
Sure, sure. Oh, I did remember. I just want to summarize the investing and the Kickstarter stuff. So it sounds like
Okay.
it sounds like you guys originally did try the Kickstarter, tried it for a short period of time, recognized that it was definitely not the way, scrapped it entirely, and you're just gonna be from here on out trying to raise the funds on your own privately and release a free to play product that's not pay to win to the people. Is that fair to say? Is that correct?
It's absolutely correct. We are also joking with this that thank God that we failed on Kickstarter, so we have some chance to release the game.
That's great. That's great. Okay, great. Fantastic. I appreciate that. And I think the people definitely appreciate that transparency for sure. So I've been hearing about some kind of server tech that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
I'm so glad you're asking this question because I'm really amazed how I'm going in a stream and I'm explaining this, and it's like then when I go in Reddit and I'm like, oh my God, what this did people did understand from what I said? So I'm referring back to go
Reddit
there and
is
see
so
what did I
bad.
say.
It's
So
so bad.
I hope we can clear this, like exactly what this server tech is and what
Fantastic.
does it mean and what does it help us, because when I'm saying we are not paying for servers, people are getting it completely wrong. They're thinking we are not paying for the dedicated servers. They're thinking we are not renting the bare metal that you put your software on and the game runs.
Okay.
So that's not true. We will be renting servers because we'll be having servers in Americas. We'll be having servers in Asia, in Europe. We need to rent
Oh,
those.
Asian server
But if you
confirmed.
go,
Uh-huh.
it should be there. It should be there.
Asian server confirmed. Shout outs to the Sea Boys. Yeah,
Oh my
sorry,
God.
sorry. I
Oh,
apologize. Go ahead.
no worries. So we definitely need to rent physically those servers. 100% we need to do that. But now, where comes the difference? When I said it in the beginning that I was always a programmer, I was always trying to understand how things are working. I knew that if you want to make the game client visually looking, etc., you use game engines. Game engines like Unity, Unreal Engine, they can speed boost you to produce the game. You can definitely create a custom engine, but this will take a lot of time. It will also give you a lot of power because you would know everything inside that game. But then my next question was, okay, but there are solutions out there that I can take and I can make a really great looking game with it. I will pay a certain fee and that's it. It's not a surprise. Unity, by the way, at mid development of the project, they kind of gave me heart attack when I was like, "Oh my God, we have to pay cents for every download, and we're free to play game." And I was like, "Man, these people will destroy us if
Hmm.
this thing goes that way." Kudos to Unity that they pulled that off back. But going to the server engine, server tech, I started from line zero, the development of the server software. Server software here is the biggest difference, which I want to highlight and I want the audience to understand. Server software is the thing that actually runs, like that has the logic of the gameplay that needs to be validated, that needs to be authoritative on a central unit. So if you go and do a very small research, there are a lot of softwares that are solving networking for you, that are allowing multi-threaded calculations and stuff, that are simulating open worlds and such things. But all of them are at least charging a fee for concurrent user online. That means if you're free to play a game, and one of the most famous one is charging 0.29 for every single concurrent user that you have online. And now people that are a little bit deeper in game development know that, especially when it comes to free to play, the standard is 2 to 3%. Yes, we can say in MMORPGs it will be higher, like 7% of people might pay because it's more engaging genre. But let's go to the 3% to just be conservative for the sake of the example. Now, with 2-3% of people paying and 97% of audience, every one of them costing you like 30 cents to be online. If I take this software, I'm done. I cannot mathematically make it. On the other side, I have two products. My game client, which is closed behind other software like Unity. I'm reliant on Unity or on Unreal Engine. And if I want to do something deeper in there, I need to have their grace to do so. But when it comes to where thousands of people will connect, they will connect to my software, which was written from the line zero, and I have full control over it. Me and the team. When I say I am sorry that I'm using that word, but we have amazing software engineers in the whole company, and this will cost us zero because we just pay for the server, for the actual hardware that we are renting, and this is like $500 to host 10,000 players. It's like nothing.
Right.
It's like nothing.
Right.
So this is the hot topic with server tech. I hope this time I explained it like plainly and cleanly for everyone.
Yeah, so let me here. Hopefully this relays. Just by the way, I see Julie in the chat saying it's refreshing to see a CEO who's an actual dev. I could not agree more. I think it's incredibly important when any project is being led by an individual that individual is a master or at least an expert or a professional in that regard. And I think what you've just explained to me is the reason why I essentially tell my viewers I would never be able to make my own MMO, because there's way more that goes into it than just, hey, I kind of know what good game design is, right? It's way more. Like all of these things, I'll be honest, I didn't know some of the things that you just mentioned. So I think it's important to you that message is that point is getting across to someone like me who knows nothing about this type of stuff and is very ignorant. So the way I just kind of heard that, please correct me if I'm wrong here, was that, there is a base server cost that everyone's familiar with. Hey, $100 a month for this dedicated server, host X amount of people, right?
Yeah.
That is something that you are obviously paying for. But when it comes to hosting an MMO server, there's more layers to that. There are additional fees that essentially cost you X amount of money per user, concurrent player, that's active online, and those fees are essentially, when it comes to this quote unquote server tech, those fees are a non-factor for you. That's kind of how I understood it. Is that right, or no? Did I miss that?
Looks like I did a great job explaining it, so you understand it perfectly well.
Okay, great. No, because I am not an expert at this. When it comes to game dev and all that stuff, I always acknowledge I'm very ignorant to this stuff. So that's really cool. Actually, that's I appreciate you for sharing that. Now, I'm under the impression this game is going to be relatively large. I mean, it does sound like you want an actual real MMO. Can you tell us about the actual world, how big the world is? Is it really open world? How many people on this server? What's the structure of this game/world?
So I can explain, but we went into ads. Looks like should I wait and answer the question after that?
Oh yes, we have an ad that's playing right now. Let's give it a few minutes here. I'm gonna run to the bathroom because the caffeine is really kicking, and feel free to chat with with the chat. I'm sure they're gonna want to.
Yes, I'll be answering questions to the chat. No worries.
Fantastic. All right, be right back.
Okay. What's up, chat? So whatever you have in mind, I'm here. We can definitely discuss any questions. Okay, let's do the awkward stare. Okay, let's sit down and just do the awkward stare. Let's do the stare. What are you drinking? I'm drinking soda. This is a sparkling water. Sparkling water. I really love drinking sparkling water. I'm not a fan of the sugary drinks. So sparkling water for me it's quite refreshing. What is your team size right now? Around 80 people. With vodka? No, with vodka. Uh, what's your favorite MMO throughout time? World of Warcraft, definitely. I really enjoyed New World as well. New World was definitely a really cool game, and I'm sorry that it went down. Sorry that it went down. Uh,
Okay, I'm back.
do you believe only selling skins is enough? Much love from Austria. Much love from Austria. Thank you. So, in general, I believe customizations can be really enough to sustain a game company. Many other companies did it, and I believe it's quite possible. Monetization from that size really depends on the size of the player base. And another thing that is a great requirement for a good MMORPG is huge player base. So in that sense, I think, to be honest, for me personally, the best monetization model for MMORPG is nothing else but free to play. This would make the best MMORPG. I think we probably are ready with that, or we're not.
Yes, we should be done. Yes, it looks like the ad is finished. Thank you. Yeah. Let us know when you guys get the ads, and then we will we'll take a short little break. Okay, so where were we? Yes, we just got
The
world structure. Yes, can you please tell us a little bit about that?
So, as I said from the beginning, everything is created with a plan, and the world structure is heavily reliant on the server tech and how we distribute the players across the map. So, currently, our target is to have at least 10,000 people per realm. Realm is the place where, when you log in, you select the name of the realm, this is where you play, you would see these people over and over again, and hopefully you find a lot of familiar faces the more you walking inside the game. Continent is our main continent at the moment is called Irongard. This is where all of you guys will come for the early access for the release of the game, and that continent so far is huge enough to sustain around 10,000 online people just for one realm. If you're having 100k concurrent people players online, that means we need to run at least 10 of those servers to sustain these player numbers. So what is important to be said is our server architecture allows us to kind of evenly distribute resources for the different regions of the continent so that it's effective and it allows a coherent experience all over the map, and it's designed in mind for large concurrency at hand.
Okay, so 10,000 people potentially on a single realm. So a realm being a server, right? Would there be additional channels, or do you mean 10,000 per channel within the server?
Are we speaking about channels like a chat channels, or you're
So I
speaking
get
about
sharding.
layering
So I
system?
get like sharding and yeah, so you have
Okay,
one server, and then within that server, you and I were both on server A, but maybe I don't see
Mhm.
you when we're in the middle of Irongard's main city because you're on a different layer or shard or channel.
So, in I need to answer here several things because they are very well connected.
Sure.
So we have this layering, or how you call it, sharding system, which is applied very effectively on, let's say, you're on one part of the continent, I'm on another. So our compute will basically separate us so that you don't wait for my calculations that need to happen on the server, and I don't wait for yours and anything that is happening around you. However, if we want to chat, we are all connected in one chat where you can see all these 10,000 people chatting in the world. Help me with that, or looking for gold, which we know will happen. So on that side, this is the parallel, the layering system. But if we go together, me and you in the capital city, we would definitely want to see this vast amount of people, and as much as possible to be seen by you, because in free-to-play game that is relying on cosmetics, this is one of the most important hubs, because if you buy a really cool skin, where is the place where you would go and you would hope that all the rest see? This is the exact place. And for us, it's crucial to have these kind of player hubs and to be vast and big, so that people can go there and showcase their beautiful skins in front of a mass audience, which will kind of drive them to go back and reinvest and get more of those goodies. And I'm sorry that I'm explaining this, but end of the day, I also need to explain later down the road. We probably catch on monetization, but if I'm saying no pay to win, and I'm heavily staying behind it, I also need to explain where we're gonna be using the ugly word predatory in a sense, so that we can make money and stay the game and provide more content and make a fair exchange. The moment when we put more content, we put more skins, and you come there for the content, but there is also something in the shop. And if you would like to support the game, there is a good opportunity.
Gotcha. Okay, so
sorry if I
no,
jumped from word structure
not at all.
to
Not
too
at
far
all.
away.
Feel free to answer however you please. So we have the city, and it sounds like everyone that's in the main city or that hub is going to be able to see each other. There is no separate channels or shards or layers within the main town. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so what if we were to go to zone A, which is let's just say a zone just outside the city. It's a hunting zone, bunch of mobs there. When we go there, if I go there and we are on the same realm, am I going to see you there, or is there a scenario in which maybe I don't see you because we're separated because there are too many users in that area?
So this is something that I'm honestly saying that we have not uncovered deep layering system within our current layer. So we separate the layers by regions. So if you're in that
Okay.
region, we give you enough compute to make sure that there are everything will be calculated and there will be no lag. Now, if we see that this specific area is vastly populated, what we can do is create a small region, or separate it in two regions, so at least we offload to two parties where it calculates. But this is something that I think we are going to understand the moment when we release the game, and this is the moment when we see where the big influx of people go. Currently, I don't have that in information, unfortunately. Not yet.
Gotcha. But the world itself, for the user, for the player, it is going to feel like an open world experience.
100%. For me, open world experience in MMORPG is absolute must. And without
I agree.
an open world experience, I think we are not speaking about MMORPG. Open world is important for many reasons. One of which is your chill place. This is the moment this is the place where you unwind from the good dungeon, for the intensive dungeon, from the challenging battleground or arena, or you just concluded a very long raid. And I really loved when back in the day I was just sitting with friends by the campfire and we were just chatting. Like, if I see this in the game, this is the one feature that I'm looking for to see. And if I see people doing this, this would bring me amazing joy, because this would be the moment when I say, "Man, I made some cool MMORPG." I don't care about. I know that people will go to arena, they will go to dungeon, they will go to raid. These are the obvious ones. I know they will go there. But what happens when they're out of there? Do they think about the game the moment when they close it? Do they just want to spend time because they have a cool community, great friends, and they just want to sit down and chat with them? If we achieve this in Scars of Honor, these are the roots of the MMORPG genre that I'm looking for.
You need to stop describing what we want in a game. The expectation level is just continually going up and up and up every single minute that goes by within this interview. Okay, so the world structure, fantastic. What about game structure? Because when it comes to MMOs, we generally categorize it into two different categories, which is sandbox versus theme park. And of course, there are plenty of games that kind of mix the two. Where does Scars of Honor lie here?
So we are way more oriented towards the theme park for several reasons. First of which is sandbox is great, but I think theme park is allowing us to really focus on war as well. And for me, war is another crucial point in MMORPGs. And I think a lot of people are coming to MMORPGs to understand the war. I can already see a lot of like theory crafting about what has happened, etc. So I'm really pleased to see what the community is already doing in Discord. And yeah, I'm also a huge fan of theme park, me personally.
Gotcha. When you say war, do you mean PvP
Yeah.
amongst players or different groups of players?
No. War of a history. War of the history, like the history of the game, like who is the main villain and what he did, what his
Oh,
purpose, what was his intentions, etc. Not between the war between the factions, but the war of
oh, the lore. I
um
apologize. The
the lore.
lore.
Yeah,
Yes.
the lore.
Thank you,
Yeah,
chat,
the
for
lore.
correcting me. Sorry. The lore. Gotcha. Okay. So lore is very important. Gotcha. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
assuming lore is something that you guys have been investing a lot of time in.
Well, we did, but if I have to be honest, for me, it was always first the game. The game needs to be fun because if the game is fun, only then you would care about the lore.
Right.
If it's
I
not
agree.
fun, like who cares about the lore? Lore is definitely something that can emphasize the game and like boost it several levels above, but priorities needs to be right and set.
Gotcha. Classes. Very, very important in all MMOs. What can we expect with Scars of Honor? Are we looking at a traditional Holy Trinity system? Are we looking at a lot of classes, a few classes? Can you give us a breakdown on the classes in Scars of Honor?
Sure.
I guess
So in
the system of
general,
classes.
yes, yes. In general, we are relying on the Holy Trinity. Definitely, we are looking for healer, tank, and DPS. However, we want to take a very specific take on two of those roles, and I mean healer and tank. One of the biggest questions that I'm always asking myself when I was playing other MMORPGs, and I mean it's super obvious, but I still don't understand why other games are not addressing this, is why do we always struggle to find tanks and healers? And it's super obvious because they're boring. I'm
Mm.
sorry to say this, chat, but in so many games so far, they're just boring. Nobody is impressed. Oh, I will rise my shield and I will soak so much damage. And that's so fun. Oh my god, I'm having such a good time just soaking damage. It's that great, you know.
Uh-huh.
Nobody does this. Nobody does this. So we're experimenting, and by the way, here we are really inspired from an unusual place. A lot of inspirations for our healers, for example, comes from a shooter called Overwatch and Moira, which is a balance
Mm.
between do I need to heal
Sure.
or make DPS at the moment, but it's an active class that can participate in PvP, in PvP, PvE, and actually have a meaning, and it's cool to play it, you know. So why don't we have such kind of healers inside MMORPG? Why, when I'm soaking this amount of damage, I'm not saying that the tank needs to be one-to-one on the DPS meters with the DPS. 100% no. But it should not be boring. Why, when I'm soaking this amount of damage and I'm like stacking rage, I don't offload a huge amount of DPS for a small period of time. So this creates a very interesting play window when the tank can be super fun and you can decide the battle because you are tank and you're not just there to stand behind and watch who is throwing stones at you. We were joking. So
Sure.
this is where we are trying to shift the perception about healers and tanks, because I think these roles we need to pay careful attention and kind of iterate on them, because DPSs, they're obvious, they are fun. This is why everyone is playing DPS. I don't think we just need to make cool combat, responsive combat, and DPSs are done. People will play them 100%. I have no doubt people will play DPSs, but I need to take care about tanks and healers. And I'm really happy with what the team is doing on that front.
Right. So I guess the only response I would have to that is, just balance. It sounds great, playing Overwatch like classes, healers that can kill, tanks that can kill. But do you think that's going to put a bigger emphasis on balance then? Because it's like, well, DPS, they can kill, but they're also the easiest to be killed, versus like a tank. If a tank can kill like a DPS can, but they're a tank, then suddenly there's no point in even playing a DPS when you could just play a tank, I guess. But I guess, like, what's your response to that?
It depends. It depends how the tank is designed. So if you know what is happening currently with the tank and he is like about to offload this, you can play against that. So we need to give you a tools to play against that. So if he misses his opportunity, too bad for him. If he seizes the opportunity, great. So it needs to be balanced. I 100% agree with you. It needs to be a balance, but this can be achieved with pure mechanics that can be implemented inside the game. Now, if I'm here standing and saying the game will be balanced and there will be no better balance than Scars of Honor game, I'm lying. I'm 100% confident that the game will have its balance issues, but these are kind of good issues. From all of the huge list of issues one MMORPG can have, I'm definitely willing to take this. If I have to pick 5 of those issues, I would definitely pick this. And because this is something that you can control. On the next patch, we can change it. We can buff the others. We can see, for example, why people are not playing Pirate. I know they will play Pirate. This is why I'm saying Pirate. I'm not saying Priest. I'm saying Pirate. And if people are not playing Pirate, we need to boost Pirate. We don't need to go there and nerf, if it's not completely broken, let's say Paladin. Because if this is your favorite class and you are having so much fun and I nerf it to the ground, what happens? Like, I'm solving one problem for somebody else, but I'm introducing another one for you. Now it's another take. If your class was completely imbalanced and you were like one-shotting people, this needs to be addressed.
Can you tell me what class that will be so I can play it? And just make it so that only I can play it. I'd appreciate that. I would. I think it's only fair.
I have one question.
Sure.
I know it's interview where I'm on the answering side, but what's your favorite class in general in MMORPGs?
Okay.
What do you like to play the most?
I am going to take this opportunity here because you are the guy, and I genuinely hope this class comes in because, of course, okay, so I'm a melee guy. I like physical melee classes. So generally I'll play either SNS tank classes, I'll play two-handed greatsword classes, and sometimes I'll play like dual wield sometimes, right? Because there's a little overlap there. Hands down, my favorite archetype though, it actually comes from my very first MMO I ever played, which is a game called Decaron. And there's a class in there called the Baggy Warrior, and it's essentially a heavy armor wielding gauntlet class. But it's not gauntlets where it's like a martial artist like Monk in whatchamacallit in WoW. It's more of like a warrior type of class in your face with huge heavy metal gauntlets. And that is my archetype. Like, I love gauntlet wielding classes that feel like a warrior and less martial artsy, if that makes sense. So please add that to the game.
so here the people that are coming to my stream every Sunday will definitely tell you that here we are aligning perfectly because my favorite class is warrior. So
fantastic.
I think we're in for a ride.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. And can I just say, if you do have a greatsword class, which I actually want, this is a good segue because the next thing I want to talk to you about is some of the classes and how they work. But if you do have a greatsword class, can I just say the posture of a greatsword warrior is extremely important. There's nothing worse for me than a greatsword wielding class where it looks like I'm holding a sword and the posture is kind of weird. A la ESO. Yeah. ESO is kind of like this. But then other classes like BDO, the way they hold their greatsword is so insanely important and underrated in my opinion. Like a greatsword that like where you're blocking, they're holding it like this, and this giant greatsword, or a greatsword that's being dragged on the ground behind them. You know, like I think that is so insanely important. So please, I don't know if that's something that you already have, but please put a little bit of focus and emphasis on the posture of the greatsword warrior.
So what I
Yes,
can say from what you guys have seen about Scars of Honor so far, a lot of the game content is in progress, and one of our main focuses at the moment is especially animation controller and animation and posture, because I'm super happy with what team did already with the character uplift with the brand new models, etc. But I'm always repeating this to the team, guys. Doesn't matter how cool your characters are, if the animations are not translating that beautiful characters well, and they're not responsive enough in the hands of the players, we have lost the battle, and we need
based.
to focus there. So,
W's in the
100%, I
chat.
agree with you that posture, the way you even swing, the way the combat feels, the animations, it's extremely important.
Crucial.
It's extremely important.
I could not agree more. So when it comes to these classes, and like I said, I try to go into this interview with as little information as possible. I'm assuming you have like the typical warrior classes. You mentioned pirate. Within these classes, how is it going to work with, I guess, the identity of the class? So for example, with a warrior, are you going to have options to dual wield, or all are the options to dual wield, options to two hand, or are all warriors going to be two handed? How's that going to work?
So with this huge talent tree, it would be such a waste to not allow you to do so.
Sure.
So when you go to the talent tree of any class, you have six major talent nodes, which are right at the circle of the talent tree, and then selecting either one of those is basically defining the root of your playstyle. So you can say, I want to play two-handed sword, and that's that route. You want to say, hey, I really want to go one hand sword and shield because this is more the tanky oriented, and you can go that route. Of course, you can also mix and match with the hybrid system, because you can go that route and then make a U-turn and go completely west with what you wanna, or north with what you wanna achieve. So on that side, I think we are in for a ride because of the customization. It's going to be really interesting to see what you guys are going to do inside Scars of Honor with that system.
Awesome. Again, this sounds a lot like a PoE, almost like an Albion like system too, where you have a lot of different routes that you can take. Now, this isn't actually on the list here, but I would like to add it because I forgot to add it. I think this would be a good segue into the combat discussion. Now, the combat, from what I've seen from a lot of people that have been following this game, have seen it looks pretty good. But then again, a lot of games combat looks great. For example, there's a game called Epitome that really recently came out, some AI game, and they're like cherry picking certain animations that look good, but then when you get in, it's garbage. It's actually pretty bad. So the combat in Scars look pretty good. What can we expect the combat to actually be like? Are we looking at a lot of skills at our disposal, or is it going to be more like New World, where it's only like a few skills that we can use per weapon, weapon swapping? Can you walk us a little bit through what we can expect with the combat?
So we have this joke with the marketing team in general, that we are people that also love to show our flows, not to create overhype where it's not existing. And when I'm seeing some cinematics, very small cinematics, when I'm always on stream, I say, this is not real from the game. This is cinematic. This is cut. So people at least understand. We have shown a lot of flows. For example, one of the recordings was made from Unity Editor, not from the actual build, and FPS was not optimal. For us, um, combat, what you see on the screen is definitely what you have in your hands. I would let that to you guys to decide when you see it, but I'm always saying that World of Warcraft is a huge inspiration from us, and the controls of what you have in World of Warcraft is our target. We want to reach that level and see how we can be at least at that level of control, I mean, and responsiveness of the character. I really hate the situation where a movement feels sluggish, it's not responsive enough, or you see sliding of your feet and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really nitpicking on this. And on the other side, as I said, we are not a studio that will show you something that is not existing and just pretend that's we don't have this slice approach to hype the community. It's just not worth it. What that would give us, like 3 months later or 5 months later or a year later, you're in the game and you would see that it's completely different. So I'm losing you like right away, even before you try the game. The moment when you're in, you're out because it's different from what you have seen. I would do the other approach. I would show you the not optimal and great footage right now, and I would use the time between you get inside the game to improve it, to make it a little bit better. So the moment when you go inside, oh my god, that's actually better from what I have seen from the videos. This is what
Yes.
I want the feeling to be for the person who is entering inside, because I'm always asking myself. I'm an MMORPG. I used to call myself veteran and a huge player in the genre, a huge lover of the genre. And if I go in, what am I personally expecting? What would make me happy? And if it's something that is like portrayed in a way that I go inside and I see it's different, it makes no sense.
So combat, sorry guys, we have an ad that's coming up. I do want to ask a couple more questions, follow-up questions in regards to the combat here, but let's let this let's take a short little break. Let this ad play through,
Okay.
and you guys can have a short little Q&A with Armagon here while we're in the ad break. Thank you guys. I'm going to use this time to go to the bathroom because my bladder goes like crazy when I drink a lot of caffeine. Be right back.
Okay. No worries. So, chat, are we doing the awkward stare again? Uh, guys, let's go stare. Let's go stare. Let's go stare. On average, how many skills per class at endgame? Oh, really cool question. I think Kenan also asked that question. So we don't want to go the route of 3 or 5 abilities like it used to be in New World, but we also don't want to go the route of World of Warcraft where you have 30 abilities you cannot use them. Why I'm saying this? Because this connects very well with how our talent system work. I explained earlier in the stream that the moment when you go inside the talent tree, you're also augmenting your current spell. We showcase that in the December showcase. So if you guys want, you can go there and see the a deep dive of the talents and how they work. And yeah, we don't think we need to go 3 or 4 spells, but we also don't like going 30. So let me see what else can I answer you. Are you going to be utility spells like portals, conjuring food? 100%, 100%. These are convenient spells that we need to have in the game, and they are relatively easy to be maintained. So no problem for that. For Necro, are they considered a summoner or a caster, or it's both? It's actually more than that. It can do all of this, but it's up to you to decide which path in talent tree you want to go. What kind of, you can make it a mixture between those. So it's up to you guys to decide how you want to play Necro or any other class, by the way. Will Action House be controlled? In what sense to be controlled? I'm not understanding the question, sorry. What about mage portals? Not sure if we're gonna attach them to the mage or we're gonna do something else. I cannot answer at that specific date on that. But portals mechanic exists in the game, and we can implement it whatever we find useful and whatever we connect it in a game design, a meaningful way. Armageddon TV, would there be advancement evolution of class with different trees to choose? Absolutely, that's the reason of the talent tree. We need to allow you to advance and evolve your build. Man, you're having awesome community. And by the way,
Yes.
I don't know how I forgot, but huge thank you for the raid that you did on my
Oh
stream like
yes, of course.
2 weeks ago. Man, huge thank you, huge thank
Of
you.
of course.
I'm a noob streamer. I'm a noob streamer, and the moment when I saw the counter, and I'm like, I'm not sure what should I do right now. I was like, chat,
No, you
can you
handled
tell
it.
me what should I do right now?
You handled it great. I'm actually glad you mentioned that. Can I get some mods to pin Armagon's channel to the message so you guys can follow him. I think it's
Oh,
fantastic that the guy that is leading this project is as open as you are and is actually streaming and conversing. I'm pretty sure your stream is going to blow up very soon. Like, definitely way more than
oh,
me for sure. So
oh,
yeah. I mean, you're definitely going to be a go to. A lot of people are going to want to go to your channel. So if you guys haven't followed Armagon, excuse me, go ahead and follow him. He is actually streaming. I don't know how active he streams for, but he's in there. So yeah,
every
definitely drop
Sunday.
him a follow. We're gonna pin his thing in the. Actually, you know what? I will do this. I think our ad is done, but I'm gonna go ahead and put you in my stream title, Armagon. I could just do that, so you guys can
Oh
click.
my God. Thank you so much.
It's just
Thank you so much.
it's AR, it's Armagon. Is it Arma?
Exactly. Armagon,
Okay,
Armagon TV.
Armagon TV. Okay, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I put this TV to be honest,
Uh
but I
huh.
was pretending like how the big streamers are doing it.
No, you're good. You're good. I think that should be good. Is that updated? Let me see. Waiting it for Armagon TV. There it is. There it is. All right. Yes, I got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Of
so much. It
course.
means a lot.
Of course. Of course. Thank you. All right. So let's continue. We are done with the ad here. So back on the combat talk, you mentioned retail WoW. And I think what you mean with when it comes to retail WoW is that crispness, that responsiveness, because it does it very well. Now, excuse me, did I say retail? I think you said WoW. You said wait. Did you say
Yeah. Yeah.
WoW, retail WoW, or classic WoW? By the way.
To be honest, the smoothness of the movement is better on the retail
Sure.
compared to classic.
Hmm.
So we're more connected on that side, just responsiveness, not systems wise and implementation wise. In general, the game is closer to World of Warcraft Classic in a lot of philosophies and game design choices. It's much closer to Classic, but it takes the controls from retail
Gotcha.
as an inspiration, if we can tell it that way.
Gotcha, for sure. So what's interesting though is from the gameplay footage that I've seen, your game actually looks more action combat compared to tab targeting, which is both classic and retail. Is it what is Scars of Honor? Are you guys a little bit of a hybrid of both, or
To the honest response, it can do both, but action based combat for me is the moment when you have that kind of a cursor which you aim specifically. So we have the skill shots where you have this area of effect spells that you put on the ground and you cast them. So you have the other ones. This is the big favor that the paladin made for us to create a huge controversy. And right now we are focusing on making sure that people understand we are top target primarily. However, we can basically make abilities that don't require these restrictions. For example, if you remember Whirlwind of the Warrior in World of Warcraft, it was not requiring you to have any a target in front of you, but it was dealing damage in a specific
sure?
area around you. Very similar. The Holy Swash, which was the default auto attack for the Paladin, was dealing damage in front of a cone in front of you. So I don't think that's an action based.
Sure.
I think it's just misunderstanding while you're looking at over a stream, for example. Because take a look at the Ranger. Ranger was always shooting at one specific target. So it's definitely a little bit of a hybrid, leaning more towards the top target.
It almost sounds a little bit closer to Guild Wars 2 and or WildStar, where all of your
Kind of.
ability kind of okay, because like with those games, you're attacking kind of in front of you. There is a tab targeting element where it's like, hey, if I want to interrupt your skill with a stun or a grapple or whatever, it's gonna go to my target I'm locked on. But at the same time, if I'm melee, for example, if I were to just use my basic attack, I'm going to hit everyone that's in front of me. So it's almost like a mini AoE. Is Scars of Honor going to be kind of like that, or is it a little bit more tab targeting like retail? Or because it kind of sounds like,
More,
okay,
yeah, sorry. More like, sorry to interrupt you, more like retail, I would
okay,
say, because that's the closest
gotcha.
I would kind of connect it. One good example of a mechanic is from the retail that we can do in Scars of Honor is I-beam of the Demon Hunter. Like it's not a top target ability. You just put it in a cone in front of you and it just does damage. This is the exact same system. This is the exact same
Gotcha.
system. So whatever you find in retail, this is what we have.
Gotcha.
We are fully capable of achieving everything that's there.
Gotcha. So tab targeting at a core, but there are obviously skill shots / action combat like skills that are in the game as well. So yeah, I mean, like you said, retail WoW has a lot of this. Now, retail WoW is very much, I guess, designed or focused on, you know, the mouse and keyboard. Do you guys plan on making it very controller friendly? Is that a thing?
That's definitely a possibility for the future. However, as I said, we are a relatively lean team, and I don't want to overpromise anything. So one thing is for sure, our main focus is PC. We're PC game first. The moment when we are super happy with the game, how it goes, then we will see how much it costs for us to put it on that platform, and what do we get in return in terms of player base, how big that player base is, and this is how we would decide what comes next. 100% we can do it. The question is we have several important milestones before we reach that level and we take a concrete decision so that I can answer.
Gotcha.
I
So
would love to promise you the world, but I can't.
of course, of course. Well, we love the transparency and honesty, something very important, especially in recent days. Well, I mean, always has been important, but you guys get what I'm saying, where I'm coming from here. So, last question in regards to the classes. Going back a few steps here, you're talking about how, you know, for example, the warrior, you might be able to have a dual wielding line or a two-handed greatsword line. How much of that can we expect from each individual class? Like, for example, in World of Warcraft, warrior, you know, you really just have two different specs, two different play styles. Sounds like Scars of Honor is looking to offer a lot of flexibility in that regard. How much can we expect here from each class?
So, to be honest, we can definitely go in many routes, and I don't think right now I can explain exactly which class is going to have these specific
Sure.
abilities, these specific tool set. So, what we're doing constantly is iterating, playing it every Thursday. We have a company event where we sit down and we play the game and we share experience because we are the developers, and if we are not playing the game and we are not having fun with the game, how do we expect somebody else to have it? And because of this, a lot of changes are constantly incorporated in the game. And if I say something right now, it might be misleading. So I'm sorry about this.
Sure. No problem at all. I just wanted to update this little thing here.
Okay.
No problem at all. Okay, so let's move on here and let's talk about the actual content in the game. And let's start with PvP. What can we
Okay.
expect when it comes to PvP content in Scars of Honor?
So this is my bread and butter. This is what is my like
You okay?
go-to thing to do in MMORPGs. This is definitely what brings me there because I'm highly competitive person. I'm highly
Okay.
competitive person, and for me, arena is definitely the place to go. The ability to obtain honor points and then buy a better gear is essential. So when it comes to PvP, I think we're also here taking a different take from what we have seen currently on the market. And first, we have the arenas. Arenas, we have here several really cool modes. First one is one versus one, but it's a mirror match. So you say I'm the
Mm,
best warrior, but I say no, I'm the best warrior, mate. We go there and we fight and we rank to see who is proven the best warrior. So you're fighting only against the same pairs, and this is will allow you to have the crown to say I'm the best warrior. So this is one versus one, where you can go against the same class, or you can go and say I'm the best PvP player in the world in Scars of Honor, because you go and you fight whomever and you rank. So we can know who is the best PvP player in the whole game by rating and everything. So this is the first mode. Second is the most obvious one, which is like you team up with your buddy and you go and you fight as a teammates, two versus two. But now we do another take. How about 2 versus 2 versus 2, 3 teams go there and last man standing wins the show. 3 versus 3, 3 versus 3 versus 3, last man standing wins the show. So this is where you go with your progression gear, and I will explain what I mean with progression gear a little bit later when I touch the battleground system, and you prove who is the best. Now, when it comes to battlegrounds, we have two modes of the same exact battleground with the same exact rules inside the battleground. Currently, we have Morning Pass implemented. You guys can go more and look about the rules of how to play that mode. But it's super fun and super cool. Now, I said earlier in the stream that it's super important for me to address and design the game in a way that if I enjoy PvP, and if I am busy and I cannot jump inside the game for 1 month, I don't want to go there and be with my greenies and be ganked like constantly for like 2 weeks. I need to suffer until I can do something meaningful in the game. So what are we doing? We are creating a separate mode which is skill based battlegrounds, where you go there, I go there, and doesn't matter what you have on you, it's stripped out for the purpose of the battleground, for the time frame of the battleground. And here is where we are taking inspiration from Fortnite, and here is where we are kind of connecting to, hey guys, you guys that are playing Fortnite, would you like to see what the old boys here are playing? Because we have these pop out items that are dropping the moment when he kills you, and he can obtain the item in the battleground and become stronger for the battleground itself. The moment when he is killed, he loses that, but he doesn't care because this is not the progression gear that you went to the dungeons or take out. And it's super fun. It's super fun because you're right away on the spot fighting, and just skill matters. If you're a good player, you would win the game. And it has this cool moment of you obtaining an items which you lose in the battleground. When the battleground is over, you're taken out and you have your progression gear. This is the things that you have received from leveling, from quests, from dungeons, etc. And now, if you say, okay, but I really want to compete and showcase my progression, then you sign for the same battleground with the progression element, where there you don't lose your items. There you go and you fight. And if you have better gear than me, most likely, not most likely, but likely you would beat me.
Gotcha. Okay, so
So I hope I explained the PvP.
No, absolutely. So the first version of that BG, or the battleground, it sounds almost like a PUBG like system where you go in there naked and then you're kind of progressing through the actual game.
Exactly. It's inspired from PUBG, from Fortnite, and this was the mode which we wanted to kind of because in general we also understand that the genre needs to somehow connect to the new audience. We need to understand, because you and this awesome community that you have here, 95%, I'm betting these are MMORPG veterans that they have played the genre for at least 5 up to 20 years, many of them. And we need to address the elephant in the room. If we're going and we're making games for just that audience, and we are not allowing other new fresh blood to pour into the genre, we are dooming the genre to die. And we need to find what current generation likes in other games, translate it into a meaningful MMORPG experience that doesn't ruin the roots, but iterates over it, and creates a connection point between this audience to get it inside. So I would rather have this audience, I would rather have the Fortnite audience and PUBG audience to come to the MMORPG rather than Sims audience. I hope you understand what I'm referring to here.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Are you concerned, going back to the arena instances, are you concerned about having too many different forms of PvP when it comes to instanced PvP specifically? Because I've seen a lot of games have a lot of different modes, but then only one realistically gets played. You know what I mean? A lot of the PvP communities end up being like, yeah, no one gives a shit about XVX. Everyone, the main PvP content is YVY.
The good part is the moment when we have created the system, bringing more modes or removing modes is cheap for us. When I say cheap, I mean development time cheap. So that's great.
Sure.
If community comes and says we are playing a lot 1 versus 1, be my guest. I'm happy that you're enjoying. So I would like to give you a little bit of a higher menu for you to pick.
Sure.
And when it's especially not that expensive for me, let me give you more options.
Gotcha. Now, I see a lot of people in the chat, and I wanted to ask this question myself. What about open world PvP? What about GVG type of content? What about that group versus group, larger scale PvP content? Is that going to exist in the game, or is it all going to be instance? Or maybe you will have it, but have it designed via an instance?
If I create this and I put it in instance, I think this is against the MMORPG playbook.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest like wow, cool, very cool moments is it when you see two guilds or the two factions uniting over on open world place, and your computer is about to blow up because of the amount of people there. Like, this is so much fun. This is so much fun, and you need to allow this to do to the community. If I see this in Scars of Honor, definitely another moment when I'll be like, oh my god, I'm so happy we did that. So for me, it's crucial to have it, but I would lean here more towards the role play aspect of the community to allow them, if they like such things, to assemble these things. I want them to the open world is the place where I want people to and groups and communities to immerse themselves. It needs to be world, and if I instance it too much, I'm separating and I'm kind of making chunks which I don't like.
Are you going to have systems in place to allow guilds or groups to realize this type of experience? Because that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like you're going to have a scheduled siege war for Ironguard Castle every week. It doesn't sound like that is something that you're going to have. But maybe the systems in place, maybe like a BDO guild declaration war system where Guild A can declare war on Guild B. Can you maybe share a few more details on that?
So guilds are essential part of the MMORPG. Absolutely, and I think this is what creates or breaks communities. MMORPG without guilds, I think it cannot exist. Now, we are a studio that has limited resources, and one thing that I'm certain is that we need to have guilds for either the best would be for early access. The worst would be if we go at 0.1 to release the guilds. I would actually go, let's make the guilds as a system and be implemented by early access, and not have this war system between guilds, but allow the people to create the communities. Then later, we can definitely sit down with the community. We can make a poll. Hey guys, tell me what are your most needed, most desired systems, and I will give a list. Not me personally, but we as Beastburst developer would give a list with the specific time frame, because we also that's super important. I'm sorry that I'm jumping like here from topic to topic, but it's very crucial to give you content every 3 months. We need to have these 3 months of a period where we sit down and we know that this content will be delivered in 3 months, and we will put cosmetics, we will put content in this, and we make fair exchange every 3 months. We give you more content, reason for you to come back. Is it going to be a new class implemented? Is it going to be the war system of the guilds, so that you have a reason to come back? And it's healthy. I think it's healthy when you go inside one game to play it and find a time frame where you say, okay, I consume the content right now, I will come back, to have a plan when you will be coming back. This is the mentality that I want to players of Scars of Honor to kind of have. And if we do this, it's great. So if we say guild wars is something that you guys really desire, we do that and we schedule it in a release. But on early access, so far, I think just thinking about the amount of work that is left that we need to make, I would say no. You would have the guilds, but the war system between guilds most likely no. And if we somehow find time, I would like to impress you that it's there, rather than say, yeah, it's there, and then you can't, it's not here.
Right. Okay. So when it comes to open world PvP or larger scale PvP, as you mentioned, it's something that you definitely want, and or like it's an experience that you definitely think is good, right? It's a pretty epic experience, and you yourself, you are a PvP guy. As of now, what is in the game and or what is for sure planned to be in the game, for example, dungeons, whether or not you have a bunch of dungeons, it's planned, right? It's going to definitely be in the game. When it comes to open world / large scale content, PvP content, what can we expect to be in the game?
So we're thinking about creating some specific zones where we will incentivize the players to go and participate in PvP. In open world PvP, I also have the other side of the coin where if I'm level 12 paladin and I hear the sounds of a rogue behind me, then I know that I'm having problems. So that um, I think it's crucial to have the PvP on and off ability to toggle because a lot of people are just not fans of PvP. And that's normal. We should not make these people suffer while they're in the open world because somebody who is level 60 or 50 or 30, it doesn't matter, want to gank you. So these are pretty much the systems that we want to implement in the open world when it comes to PvP. Specific events, yes, definitely we can do those. This is we can connect them with war and stuff, but we would do so after we make the release of the game because it's not in the priorities at the beginning. For us, the priorities at the beginning is understanding the core whoop of the game is fun and then understanding what the player base wants. If we see that 75% of our player base is PvP lovers, then we know our attention where it needs to go. Like what more systems we need to give. On the other side, if we see that you guys are super enjoying the procedural dungeons of Scars, then there is where our focus needs to be. So from that moment, I am just saying that I cannot tell you, hey, we are a PvP game or a PvE game. I'm telling you, we have both because I think this is important and crucial for every real MMORPG. But I'm also saying that we are here to listen from you guys what you want to play because end of the day, I'm not making that game for myself. Yes, I like how Scars of Honor is shaping as a product, and I would 100% play it every single day. But it's also a game that you guys need to play and we need to take your feedback. By the way, I need to close the window because I'm freezing.
Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, great. So it sounds like when it comes to the PvP content, we're gonna have instance arenas and BGs as the main PvP content, and open world PvP is being explored as a possibility. And if it were to be implemented, you guys are currently leaning towards like PvP specific zones. But if you do implement it, you want it to be opt-in, not forced PvP. And anything additionally outside of that is going to be considered based off of player demand. Is that
exactly?
That's accurate? Okay, great. Fantastic. So let's talk about PvE content then. So PvE content is obviously extremely important to most people playing MMORPGs. You were mentioning this game is probably going to be more of a theme park. It will not probably. It is going to be more of a theme park approach. So I'm assuming we're expecting instance dungeons in raids. Maybe can you explain to us what we can expect with PvE content in Scars?
Yes. So you're correct to say that the PvE activities, when it comes to dungeons and raids, they will be instanced. However, there is a big difference between how we approach those two. So dungeons in Scars of Honor will be procedural. That means every single time when you go to the exact same dungeon and the same tier, because outside of a different layout that is going to be given to you, you'll be having a different tiers inside that specific dungeon. Now, what is important here to be said? First, how do you go in that dungeon? When it comes to tier 0, which is the lowest skill requiring mode, you can sign from a queue. You go there and you sign from a queue. Why are we doing this? Because we want more people to engage with the lowest skill requiring version of the dungeon. Now, once the moment when you go from tier 0 to tier 1, this is the moment when we want you to socialize. We want you to gather your group, gather all your party, fly there, find the entrance, and get inside. Now, what happens when you get inside? Every single time there will be differences, different layout, different bosses, different rooms that wait for you. It's inspired a lot from Path of Exile as well, and we're bringing this to
Mm.
MMORPG. Now, we are exploring, and today we had a really great because we have a specific date where we sit down and we review systems of the game. Today we had a really cool idea for how we can even advance that system in future. For the upcoming test, we have the whole dungeon created. The moment when you go inside, it's already created, and you have choices. Should I go left over that door, or should I go right over that door? And choosing this is also applying a dungeon augmentations, meaning if you choose right, bosses will be hitting you 20% harder. They will have burn hour or something like this, but you have 30% more loot, for example, or whatever it is. Or you would go left side where they will become easier, but you will also receive less wood. And these are the augmentations. The moment when you go right, this is a specific layout which will lead you through mazes, which will lead you to over treasure rooms, over trap rooms. So a treasure room can look undistinguishable between the trap room. You go and you activate, and you see boom, 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 treasures appearing. You're working. Next round you do this, it's something else. Monsters appear, you have to fight them. And it's what we want to achieve with this is the huge replayability. And why we want this approach, it's pretty obvious. We cannot compete with World of Warcraft. And I'm super honest. We cannot compete with World of Warcraft. We don't have 20 years of development, their budget, and creating 300 dungeons, all of them theme parked. Because what first happens? We will create this, we invest huge amount of money, and you will go over our dungeon. You will repeat it 3 times. You're bored. You don't want to play this anymore. You want the next dungeon. Okay, so first we cannot beat them in amount of content. You'll be bored. So why should we even think about this? So let's put it in the trash.
Mm.
We put it in the trash. How other games are solving this? Path of Exile. They are a great example
Mm.
how we go over the dungeon and have a huge replayability. How it connects well with the items. If me and you have the same sword, that doesn't mean we have the same stats on the sword. You would go over and over and over until you reach a higher tier of the dungeon, until you get the best possible stats for your item. So replayability for us is king when it comes to dungeon. Now, how dungeons are different from raids? Raids are the places where we give you the lore, where we make this theme park experience that every time it will be the same, but this is where the place where the big bosses are. The places where you unite with the big group and you go there and you fight. So they are not procedurally generated. They are always the same with really tough bosses, with really cool cinematics that are telling you the story. You go there to fight Silvergillion, the Dragon of the North, which we will release more information about him, etc., and why he is the ultimate villain. But this is the PVE in Scars of Honor, and I dare to say that we are taking a different take on how we approach this for many reasons. For many reasons.
It almost sounds like the PvE dungeon experience is like a mini Path of Exile. Is that is that kind of what we're thinking
It,
here?
it's relatively similar. It's relatively similar, but it's an MMORPG. It's completely different camera. It's completely different
Sure.
experience, and it's an interesting take that I have not seen so far in MMORPGs.
Now, the thing about PoE in these ARPGs is that you get huge dopamine hits and regular dopamine hits by getting gear, by getting loot. Is that what we're going to be
Exactly.
expecting with Scars?
100%. We are exactly chasing that same feeling.
Amazing. Guys, I apologize. We're gonna take a quick little break here. There's an ad coming through. I have adjusted the ad so that the next one is gonna be way later. So I think we've got like an hour until the next
Okay.
one. I'm gonna take my. I apologize for not saying this earlier. I was kind of caught up here. So, but I have adjusted the ads. I will be right back. Quick bathroom break, and then we'll get started. Be right back.
Oh my God, I think I catch a flu or something with that opened window. So, chat, how are you doing? Do you like what you're hearing? Do you like what you're hearing about Scars of Honor? Any worries? Thank you, chat. Okay, great, great. The only thing left right now is to write exactly. However, guys, I really want to make sure that the moment when you get in, you're pleased with what you're finding inside. I don't want to rush this because of circumstances that are happening currently in the genre, and then you go there and you find a nice disappointment. I would, if we need to delay so that I can give you the quality, I can give you good impression, I would 100% take the route to delay it so that you have the quality rather than just rush it because now it's hype. This is it doesn't make sense. It's not logical to go that route. I hope you understand.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
I'm
great.
back. We've got a couple of minutes here until the ad's over. Guys, I have adjusted the ad, so the next one will be an hour later. I apologize for not saying this earlier. After each ad, I was like, okay, remember to set it, but then I got caught up on something, so I do apologize. Yeah. So, by the way, the game sounds fantastic. I'm very excited about it. I'm pretty excited about it.
Now we just need to pull it off. Now we need to just to pull it off.
Yeah,
And this is what I was discussing always with the team that it's super cool that a community is growing,
yeah,
but this also put a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure on us, which I understand how important it is
right.
to just deliver. It's that one thing that the whole genre needs. We just need to deliver, not many promises, just show the game.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's so difficult with games, especially MMOs, because it's like, the higher the expectation, the bigger the disappointment, right? Like the reality is even Scars is going to disappoint a lot of people, no matter how good it is, because at the end of the day, you can't
Exactly.
please everyone, right? And if there's a lot of hype building up for the game, it's good because the game gets exposure, but then it's bad because the expectation level is so high. You know what I mean? This is a reason why I really think a lot of people are going to be disappointed with the Riot MMO just because of how insanely high that expectation level is. And then you have games like Expedition 33 where the expectation level was zero because no one even heard of it, right? Like pretty much, like no one was expecting anything. Then all of a sudden the game comes out, not perfect, but it's like, holy shit, this game is so fun. And then obviously, the perspective on the game is overwhelmingly positive. So I'm really hoping that the people give it a fair shake. But what I know for sure is, within the MMO space, people are starving for a good MMO, especially this year. And it's not looking good, I should say, for Western MMOs right now specifically.
Yeah, the economics are not helping at all. The economy is not helping at all, and yeah, it's tough times. But in tough times, a lot of beautiful things were born. So
Sure.
I'm
That's true.
hopeful. I'm hopeful.
That's true. Um, okay, let's see. We were just talking about the PvE content and the PoE like dungeons. Okay, so continuing from our previous conversation there. So it sounds like the gear acquisition is almost going to be similar to PoE. Now, the only potential issue that I see hearing this is the power creep, right? Like if you're constantly getting
Mhm.
upgrades, the dopamine hits, it feels good, fantastic. But then the gap between, between someone that has a lot of gear versus not a lot of gear gets insane. And at some point, that's going to probably taper off, right? Unless there's a reset, which I know we have a segment for this, a section later for this, so you don't have to go into too much detail because we are going to come back to this, the vertical slash
Okay.
horizontal slash reset. But just to kind of, I guess, respond to your previous explanation with the the dungeons and getting these
You're
dopamine hits, how are you going to manage that?
You're 100% correct to say that this will create a huge gap between very geared and under geared people, and that's correct. That's 100% correct. But where is the most obvious difference between these people? And it's in PvP. When we are giving you these abilities to go and just showcase your talent build, and that's all that matters in the skill-based battleground, you can still have a lot of fun without having this great gear on you. So this is where I think everything clicks. I mean, of course, there will be flaws in our game design. There will be problems with
Sure.
the game. I'm not saying we have solved it all, not at all. I'm not saying we are game for everyone, 100% not. But I think uh, doesn't matter that you have that great gear. I can go and I can still beat you if we go in the a skill based battleground. And this is what's important. This will make me okay. I beated him, a very geared guy, on purely on skill. Now it's my time to get
Sure.
my gear, and this will motivate me to go and grind and make this gear. This is why I was referring previously to say it's important the moment when you turn off the game to think about the game, to think about activities which you had in there.
So I'm confident. I'm very confident that PvP content will exist because I can very clearly tell that you are a PvP head. Spoken like a true PvPer because asking about the gear gap, right? And discrepancy there and the power creep there, your immediate response was like, "Oh, well in PvP, skill to win, balance speed, whatever." Which is, totally great, but definitely that's definitely a response I would expect from a PvP guy. But like when it comes to the PvE specifically, damage is a pretty big thing. There is competitive PvE where it's like that extra one, like an extra 5% damage when it comes to more competitive PvE is very significant, right? When we're looking at the differences between those DPS meters, which by the way, are there going to be DPS meters? How competitive is the PvE going to be? And before you answer that, I apologize, I'm jumping around now. Can we maybe circle back to that gear gap specifically in regards to
Yes,
PvE? Because I think it's a bad feeling when
yes.
it's like I'm going in there and we're doing a dungeon run and Sherlock over here, he's lapping me in damage. He's doing like 3x my damage and I just feel like I'm getting hard carried.
To be honest, you're correct to address this back to PV, but I think when it comes to PV, first you have the tiers of the dungeon. So if you are under geared, you won't go in
Gotcha.
tier 6, for example. You won't
Gotcha.
go in tier 10. This is not your place. You won't be in the same group with these people unless they just signed to carry somebody on tier 0. And on the other side, we cannot take away the sense, the feeling of accomplishment for these PVE masterminds that were there, they were grinding, and they were handpicking the best possible items with stats. Like this is the reason why, in general, you would go there and grind and grind and grind, so that you can go higher tier and you can showcase. Then you should not be mixed with people that are not on your level. You should find these min-max players and go together with them. And you need to have this sense of accomplishment. And also, once you go there in White Song City for Sacred Order, for example, or in any capital, uh, the moment when you sit there and you see your item level and you see the progression, people just need to salute you. And this is something that you have earned, and we cannot take it away from you to equalize everyone.
Right. Understood. A lot of replayability when it comes to a lot of replayability when it comes to retail WoW it lies with Mythic Plus. A lot of people like that because it offers a greater challenge, and then you have like your competitive push when it comes to PvE. It sounds like the dungeons in Scars at a core is going to be more of like that procedural dungeon approach. Do you have, and then the tiers also kind of sound like a Mythic Plus like system, kind of, or is that more of like
Exactly.
a simple, easy, normal, and hard type system?
It's inspired from the Mythic Plus, and it combines the best which we believe from the dungeons of World of Warcraft with the best from the dungeons of Path of Exile. Take it, and if they had a baby in MMORPG, that would be Scars of Honor.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So what's the scale? What's the scaling going to be like when it comes to these dungeons, these procedural dungeons, and just, I guess, general PvE content? Is it going to be endless, or is there a hard cap to this?
No, there is definitely a cap that you can reach at the moment because we want to see first the capabilities of the system. Later, we can say now they're endless if we decide and if we decide it's a good idea. But so far, we are relatively not relatively. We are exactly at the beginning of it, so I cannot really answer where and what
Sure.
the final would be like until we play it, until we gather the feedback from you guys. Because today I started this and I didn't finish. I'm sorry about that, but we were in the dungeons meeting and we were discussing the possibility for the players to choose left, right, or center, whatever they want to exit, and decide if they want to participate in two more bosses fight
Mm,
to kind of extend to create the dungeon to enlarge it in real time. And
mm.
we said, look, this is definitely possible. We can definitely make it, but we'll have to rework how we generate the dungeons at the moment, and we're so close to a public test. So let's first give the old system, which you go inside and everything is generated, and every time it's different. But you cannot change the layout in runtime because you just have the mazes. You go there and you see them, and let's get the feedback from the players. And after we take the feedback from the players, then we can build upon it, and we can allow the players in real time to change the layout, to change how many more bosses you want to fight, how much you want to raise the stakes in terms of also reward, risk and reward. And also one thing very important in Scars of Honor, you have a hard cap on that. If you go and you die X amount of time, and you use your resurrect, you lost the dungeon. So you need to be really careful how you're playing it. And this also emphasizes again on the replayability. So this is why I'm telling you, you cannot go if you're under gear in tier +6, for example, because you're just not for that.
This almost
Not yet.
this sounds actually pretty similar to New World's latest Catacombs dungeon feature. I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with their catacomb system?
Um, Not really. Not
Okay.
really.
Okay. It kind of sounds similar,
I've
but
heard it, but I'm not.
okay. No, all good. No problem. Okay. So raids. We're talking a lot about dungeons. What about raids? Is that going to be the pinnacle content in Scars when it comes to the PvE content, at least?
Um, to be honest, I think it might be, but yet again, it's too soon to answer that because, as I said, we need to take a lot more feedback to understand where we need to go. It's not yet clear for us, you know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I mentioned DPS meters earlier. What's your stance on DPS
Mhm.
meters?
I think they are important to be inside the game. I think they are important because a lot of people are just installing this right away as adults in other games, and I think people need that. And especially in PvE, this would be crucial.
So just so that we're clear, my personal bias is I've always been in favor of DPS meters, but I'm familiar with the negativity surrounding having DPS meters. So I want to play devil's advocate here and ask you, what are your thoughts with the toxicity that could potentially come from having DPS meters in your game?
I think this is a relatively high risk that the DPS meters can bring,
Mhm.
but we can also put this on the higher level of the tiers. If we see that this is not really great for the people that are just casually playing the dungeons, we can definitely enable that only on the higher level where you would like to know how you performed, where would want to optimize your build as much as possible. So yeah, it has a risk. Every design decision that we make,
For
we are
sure.
paying a price for it. Making it or not making the DPS meter, we are having a price to pay.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree more. To insert my opinion, if it is any form of feedback, is that DPS meters are going to exist third party regardless. It's like you can't stop it, right? Personally, I think that. And I think there's other ways to go about the toxicity, because that's another thing. It's like, with or without the DPS meters, it's still going to be toxic slash gatekeeping will still exist. Sure, it could be accelerated, but I mean, you take a look at a game like Lost Ark, which they've historically been against having DPS meters for that very purpose, and people still ran them anyways. It's still known to be one of the hardest gatekeeping games. But that's just my personal opinion. Feel free to agree or disagree if you're watching on YouTube or in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, it's perfectly correct.
Sure. Okay, so last question in regards to the PvE content. Arguably the most important. Theme park games generally equal daily content. It generally equals dungeon / raid lockouts. Can you tell us what we can expect in regards to this with Scars of Honor?
So one thing that I always said that I don't like when it comes to these locking mechanisms is hard cap on, for example, how many dungeons you can do daily. And you just do this once a day, especially for dungeons, and come tomorrow, this is the time when you can do it again. Or a hard cap on, let's say, you cannot level more than 3 levels today, you need to come tomorrow. This is definitely something that we won't have in the game. Now, on the other side, when we're speaking about raids, which are a huge event that is happening, I think weekly resets are kind of important, because you don't want people to go there and get overgeared in no time. You want to allow them to explore the lore, to participate in the raid, and it's a huge event that you don't want to kind of have it daily done. But when it comes to dungeons, when it comes to leveling, I 100% agree that it's a place that you don't want to restrict the player. I mean, if you want to play this over and over again, and we are saying that a core value of the dungeons is replayability, then it doesn't connect with if it's gatekeeped in some way.
Gotcha. We will be talking a little bit more about character progression / gear progression here in a couple of sections.
Okay.
But let's move on. Life skilling. Life skilling is pretty big, especially in sandbox MMOs. However, this is a theme park MMO. Life skilling / gathering, these types or crafting, these types of systems were also pretty important or significant in games like classic WoW. What can we expect when it comes to life skilling content with Scars of Honor?
So we are taking a specific approach when it comes to gathering and crafting, because, as I said, it's Scars of Honor will be free to play game, and bots are definitely going to be something that will flood us right away. And when we are not having the paywall in front of these bots, we are having a problem. And we if we allow them to go inside and just get all of the resources so that they can sell it for gold, or basically ruin the economy. So what are we doing here? All of our gathering professions, like mining, like wood cutting, herbalism, and all of these, we have the mini games incorporated in them. So when we were designing these, we were like, with the game design director, we were sitting down and we were like, this is the first thing that bots will come after. 100% they will come after it. And what are the mechanics that we can implement inside so that we try to fight them as much as possible? And we were joking, we should put capture. I'm a human, so you need to click it over the or or something. And in that sense, what is the closest thing we can do in order to keep it fun, keep it engaging, because we also don't like the go there, right click and just see the wording bar. Here are your rewards. So we implemented these mini games, which are different. They vary based on the gathering activity that you are doing, and this is how we're also fighting bots, because you need to pay closer attention to what is happening, and we are also kind of removing this boring aspect of just right click and get the materials. And I know that this is a highly controversial topic in Scars of Honor and in all of the game design ideas that I'm covering. And I would like to hear your chat, your community. What do you guys think about mini games? Because I'm always explaining the reason why we created these mini games, and it's important to understand that they're also a tool to fight those
Bots.
bots. Because for
Mm.
me, it's important to keep the economy healthy. If we destroy the economy of the game, like it is a huge problem.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's not just about, hey, we're adding mini games for the sake of making it more interactive, more engaging, but a big part of it is us trying to fight bots because you are a free-to-play game trying to bring in tons of players, which means your game will be botted. There will be people that come in, bot your game, do the RMT, do the RMT thing, and it's interesting. I'm glad you actually brought that up. And guys, as he has just mentioned and acknowledged, this is a controversial topic. There are a lot of differing opinions. I already see people in chat scoffing at mini games. Some people preferring the mini game. So do go to the Discord. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will have the Scars of Honor official Discord linked in the description. Be sure to go to the Discord. Maybe my mods can pin it on top of whatever we have pinned right now at the top of chat for you guys to for you guys on Twitch to also go send the feedback there, and let me know in the comment section also what you guys think if you are listening on YouTube. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely, definitely. Okay, so I do. So this wasn't on my list, but now that you've mentioned it, let's talk a little bit about botting. What are the plans right now to go about botting? I know you can't give up too much because that would defeat the purpose of that defense. But can you tell us a little bit about? Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here with the botting situation?
So what we expect to have them first, like chasing, is definitely the gathering and crafting. We have an internal system that is implemented inside our server engine. We call it Warden, that can definitely detect when there are some weird behaviors in specific players, and it reports and it allows the game masters to go and observe. And we have this system in place that will help us. I cannot unveil a little bit quite more than that, because as you said, it will defeat the purpose, and I will give them a heads up, which I don't want to do at that moment. I 100% recognize and I know that there will be bots, but we are also preparing to fight as much as possible. I know that the moment when we incorporate something, they will find another clever way to overcome it and stuff, and it will be ongoing process that I don't believe will ever end. And having bots in some way, it's also good because it means there is attention to your game. There is a desire for them to go and try to solve this.
They wouldn't be
but
botting
we
a
should
dead
not
game.
just let them. Exactly. On the other side, we should not just let them do whatever they like.
Sure. So the age-old response to this, mainly from ignorant people such as myself, is, well, can't you just hire a few active GMs to be in these hotspots and just manually ban people? Your take on that?
You definitely need the support team, not just for fighting the bots, but also supporting the community. Because if somebody lost an item or something happens, you need to help these people so that you don't lose players. So that is definitely needed. But in 2026, we are having so advanced systems that I don't think the bare muscles approach is the most correct one, because you're fighting against something that is automated. So if they were able to automate it against your game, you should be able to automate it against them, rather than spending in like huge teams that will just lose the battle in front against automation.
Sure. So to round out this life skilling section, because that's what this section originally was, how big of an impact is life skilling and crafting going to have on Scars of Honor?
So it's playing a major role in the core game loop of Scars of Honor. It's super important part because it is also a place where you can showcase your skills as craftsman. On the other side, it's creating potions. It's creating very useful things that you can use in participate. You need in order to participate in higher level of dungeons. So it's an essential part, and we recognize gathering and crafting as one of the pillars of MMORPGs. And without gathering and crafting, I don't think we would have a full, meaningful MMORPG.
Sure. Is it, so I'm just trying to think here. I'm just kind of wondering what this experience is really going to be like. How deep is it going to be? Do you want the gathering and crafting to be pretty straightforward, pretty basic, or should we be expecting more of a system that has a lot of depth and a lot of layers to it? So I guess what I'm trying to ask is the gathering and crafting going to feel like a traditional theme park MMO where there's a few nodes out there that you can gather and then you go to the workbench and craft? It's pretty straightforward. Or is it going to feel a little bit more like BDO? Well, BDO mainly with the gathering part. Is it going to feel like more like New World, kind of like Chrono Odyssey's new take on it? Is you know what I mean? Where it's like you're going out there in the world, you see a tree, you can chop that tree down. You see that plant, you can harvest that plant.
So I'm glad you brought that question, because here is also where we are applying a different take. First, I really liked how gathering and crafting worked in New World. This is definitely a huge inspiration for how gathering and crafting works in Scars of Honor.
Huge.
Huge inspiration from there. But there is a caveat in Scars of Honor, because it's theme park and the art director is pretty solid on, man, don't allow everyone to come and just destroy this forest and then it will be
Sure.
looking like empty. We have a specific nodes of trees which you can chop. Not every tree is like you can cut it down. But on the other side, when it comes for nodes, because this is how we call them, gatherable nodes, and we are speaking here, I can give you an example about the mining ore. We have a significant difference between, we call it a single player a mining core and multiplayer mining core. We call the multiplayer mining core the boss mining core. So when you go on a single player node, it requires one player that plays a mini game, and the moment when you complete that mini game, you get your rewards. But when you go on a multiplayer or a rare mining core, which is bigger in size as well, you're required to have a party of 3 people to fight play the mini games against that boss slash rare multiplayer or, and there you get a way higher and better materials, like a lot more precious materials you would get if you participate in group and you destroy that ore together with your buddies.
That sounds very interesting, because it sounds like that's going to incentivize group gathering.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. Exactly. I haven't really seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that done. In Lost Ark, there's one system where you can chop down a tree with a different person. You guys both kind of get it. But yeah, this system having specific nodes specifically for, I should say, group grinding when it comes to life skills. I guess I hope I phrased that correctly. That sounds that actually sounds fantastic to me. Hopefully, it ends up being fun. But cool. That sounds pretty cool. Is there anything else when it comes to the life scaling and crafting systems you want to share? Because so far it sounds really, really good on paper, at least.
Well, I can tell you that this is from experience that we have participated in our internal playtest, and it's super cool. It's really cool when you're like doing your soul content and like I'm mining a soul ore, and it's fine. But the moment when you achieve these in a group with just 3 people, it's just whole another feeling. So it's really, really cool. But I think this kind of sums up the whole gathering and crafting part of the game.
Gotcha. I guess my only concern with this would be that maybe the nodes, especially the multiplayer ones, if they're like rare and they're giving them more precious materials, I'd just be concerned about nodes being congested, just being farmed even by bots that are just sitting there perma farming these nodes.
This would be the hardest. To be honest, they would be the
Yeah.
safest from bots because the sync between the three different games. This is where we are going to torment the bots and like make it pretty much impossible for them. They need to
Okay.
sync three games
Three game.
to
Right.
complete one.
Right. I see that. Now, final little question on this. I just thought of this now, but let's say you, Nancy, and I went and we're mining this thing, right? We're mining the ore.
Okay.
Can Jeff's group come in and try to snipe this? Can they interact with this node while we're interacting with it and complete the minigame faster and take it from us? Or is it locked once we interact with it?
So the moment when you completed the game, the loot is locked for you guys. It's yours. Nobody can come and take it out from you. But what they can do, especially if you have PvP enabled, they can attack you while you're doing this, and you have to better respond back.
Right. Assuming that you're in a PvP zone or you're flagged up.
Yes,
Is that something?
exactly.
Are you guys considering having maybe like higher yields and some additional incentives for being in a PvP zone, whether it's crafting or excuse me, gathering or just grinding mobs?
I'm hearing this question for I don't know which consecutive interview. I think people probably want this, but on the other side, I am like, I don't want to make the people that are not participating in PvP feeling like they are losing like 10 or 20% progression in whatever because they just don't want to be ganked. So on that side, currently there are no plans to give you more rewards for doing PvP in the open world compared to someone who just wanna quietly enjoy the game and don't participate in such stuff. Of course, if this is something that the community votes on, we can definitely do it later on, but not in current plans at the moment.
Okay, cool. I feel like there's another question I wanted to add on to that as you're responding. I can't I can't think of it, so maybe we can circle back. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about leveling and endgame. Now,
Okay.
there are games like Ion 2 recently released where they straight up out the gate they're like, "Hey, this game starts at endgame and you'll hit endgame within a day of leveling." And then you have games like Classic WoW where, there's a big focus and emphasis on the journey to level 60, right? The leveling experience is the main experience. What can we expect in Scars of Honor?
So I think in 2026 we cannot do the exact same thing that was done 2024 2004, and it was working back then. But on the other side, we cannot skip the importance of leveling because this is a progression which is important. The joy of achieving something hard in MMORPGs is kind of lost, and I think we should not design a leveling system which sole intent is just to go through it as fast as possible because by design it's boring, just so that you go to the fun part. Because this is where a lot of for us, leveling is super important because a lot of people will give up on the game in the low levels.
Yeah.
Somebody who is at the end is most likely to stay and play more time, spend more time in the game compared to someone who doesn't enjoy leveling. So enjoyable leveling and leveling that gives you sense of satisfaction that you have achieved something is crucial for our game. And this is the right balance, which will be probably one of the hardest things to achieve. But we need to find the perfect balance between not too fast, not too slow, that provides a sense of accomplishment.
Do you want the questing? Well, I should start with this. Do you want the leveling to be primarily questing to the end game, or is there going to be some just grinding options? How's that going to work?
So it's a mixture between several things. First, I don't see scars. Oh, scars are scar schedule. Maybe that's something different. But there is a scar system in Scars of Honor, which is a whole another interesting take. that we are doing in the genre.
Okay.
Scars are something that is unveiled as you level up or once you kill a specific rares in the open world. So your leveling is not you just going and doing quests. I'll come up on quests a little bit later, but um, when you go and you find a specific rare in the open world, you'll be phased. You'll be phased in a place where you and that boss you need to settle the scores.
Okay.
The moment when you defeat that rare boss, you get a specific scar, you have several scars which you can pick which one you want to take from him. But leveling is a place where you would fight a lot of those enemies, so you get a lot of scars as you level up. And we want leveling to be meaningful. So these engagements with these rare mobs are what will make you die 500 times. There will be several specific rares which will want their sole purpose will be to teach you to play the mechanics of your class. Uh, that's also connected with the rare you're going to fight as a mage is not going to be the same on level 5, let's say, with the rare that the warrior will fight.
Sure.
Because these two rares will want their purpose will be to teach you different mechanics. And leveling will be well connected with that. Now, going to the quest system, this is where we are again making some difference. We are having a system that is not giving you hints how the quest and direct instructions how the quest needs to be completed, but there are also hidden ways of which you can complete the quest. So there is always several additional ways how you can complete that quest, and you never know which are they, and is there a such hidden ways on your current one. So this will allow you to wander around to get clues, because there will be clues around hinting that you might do something different here rather than what is the exact description of the quest. So we want to have this sense of exploration while we are leveling, this sense of journey while we are leveling, and this sense of mystery and this sense of, oh my god, I just found something new. And you as a streamer, the moment when you tell this, it will be like, oh my god, a huge dopamine moment for you. Hey guys, did you see how I
Right.
concluded that level, that quest? And the interesting part is the moment when, let's say, you're on your third out or in your second out, then you have completed that quest previously, and right now you understand that there is a hidden path, there is a hidden way of completing that quest. So I hope I'm not jumping in between, but a lot of things are connected, and in order
Mm.
to make sense, I need to kind of
Right.
jump in between topics.
Sure, sure. No, no, you're totally fine. But I was just gonna say, and then once that happens, it doesn't become hidden anymore, and it becomes the meta way of doing it. YouTube
Yeah,
guides and
exactly,
everything.
exactly,
What?
exactly, exactly.
So to continue off of your explanation with the scars, it sounds like
Yeah.
there's obviously a lot of power behind obtaining these scars, and it's part of your character's overall progression. Which again, we're gonna get into this a little bit more in detail, but I'm just thinking, like, assuming that the power from the scars are significant, does this mean you're going to have meaningful choices as you're leveling that are permanent to your character? Because this could be both good and bad. Some people could look at this as, well, shit, I'm a noob, I don't know anything about the game, what if I choose the wrong scar? Is my character bricked? Am I going to have to start over again?
No, you don't need to start over again. You can definitely reroll at later stage, but
Okay.
your work is a crucial factor in here, and the whole intent, the biggest intent behind scars is basically the idea that we want. If you are having a paladin and I'm having a paladin, and they're having the two exact same talent builds, although it's a huge and vast tree, those two paladins to be different. Even if you are leveling
Hmm.
yourself two different paladins to have different connection with these paladin scars, for us are a connection, a system that creates a connection between the player and the tool. This is what scar system is really focusing on. Now, how it's gonna play, we need to understand when we give it to your hands. We need to get the feedback from you, because you see how I'm saying there are we want to close the feature set of the game, but I already with what we have unveiled just so far, you see that it's a a full-blown MMORPG with tons of systems already.
Right. Leveling time. Can
Yeah,
we get an estimated leveling time to max level?
numbers are always the number one question that I'm
Yeah.
always not answering, because everything is subject to change. Whatever I tell you as a number right now
Hmm.
is a subject to change, unfortunately.
Okay, that's
So
fair. Can I counter with this then? Can we expect a longer journey to max level or a shorter journey to max level in both terms being subject to your own definition of?
yes, exactly. So I would say more balanced,
Okay.
leaning a little bit more towards the longer aspect,
Okay.
but not don't expect anything close to what it was taking in WoW Classic, for example, back in 2004.
Okay, not to the extent of classic WoW.
Exactly, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk a little bit more about endgame because we had a lot of discussion here about the leveling. What about the endgame? What can we expect the endgame loop to be? You were mentioning earlier you're not a big fan of dailies, you're not a fan of repetitive content, but I feel like dailies and repetitive content is kind of how a lot of theme park games are structured to a certain degree. If I were at the end game of Scars of Honor right now, what's my day-to-day experience going to be like?
So there are plenty of things that you can do outside of, and I don't like the daily quests because they feel like chore. The moment when you have to do these daily and you have the sense of guilt, the moment because you didn't not enter the game. I think the reason why you want to enter the game should be because it's fun, because you just want to play it. You want to be, you came after from school or you just finished work. You don't want to be, oh my god, my next list in the chore list is go and complete daily quest. So daily quest is definitely something that we are not looking forward to. But you can go dungeons. You have so many tiers to fight and conquer. The items, just the items that the chance of obtaining just a little bit higher stat on the same item is a huge motivation of replayability. So we can have the replayability without the chore list. So the intent is to focus you on what's fun and what drives you to play the game, with like dungeons, with arenas, with battlegrounds, with raids, with open world activity, and last but not least, some chill time in the open world where you just sit down and you're just chilling, man. Why not?
I think that's I really like how you're emphasizing that last point, which is I want my game to be fun for people that are just chilling too. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of
Exactly.
people are focused on what content is there, but it would be nice to be able to play an MMO where I actually enjoy just chilling and not doing anything. And I'm just in the world and socializing and things like that. I think that's really cool that that is something you've kind of emphasized because that's like I feel like the third or fourth time you've mentioned that in this interview.
But that's not something that we have invented or something. I mean, this is something that I think was at the root of the MMORPG genre, and I'm just refreshing what used to work. I mean, we're not inventing anything pretty much new. We're
Right.
just taking formulas that work, we combine them, we put our twist on it, and we give it a spin.
So this could easily segue into a social content discussion, which we have on our list a little bit further down. So I'm just going to hold off on that so we can talk about that when we get to
Okay.
that section.
Okay.
Instead, let's now segue into the gear progression, character progression, and gear acquisition. A lot of theme park MMOs, it's pretty straightforward. You go out there, you do dungeons / raids, you get your gear. When it comes to ARPGs, you go out there, every single dungeon you run, you're getting an upgraded piece, you're getting dopamine hits. Can you walk us through what the gear progression / acquisition is going to be like in Scars of Honor?
Yes, I think we've mentioned it a little bit earlier
Yeah.
in the stream, but in general, gear progression is really tied to the pool of stats on the items that you receive. It's very similar to how the dopamine hits that you get from Path of Exile when you're receiving new gear and stuff. So it's really well inspired from that game in general. And I believe resets, which we probably cover in the next section, but it can really well connect with this. And the acquisition part of this gear is the obvious ones, like the dungeon, the raid, the open world, the PvP where you go and you fight in arena, you obtain points, you spend them in the vendor. But there are several different ways how you can obtain items. And one thing that I would like also to ask your chat, and I actually see right away the question is exactly that. Uh, do you guys prefer a separation between PvE gear and PvP gear, or would you like to take your PvP gear and be active with it in PvE aspects and vice versa? Because for us, it's matter of configuration, and it's not something that is like heavy to be modified, but it's a take that I personally, if you ask me, I would say gear is important and gear should be available and meaningful in PvE and PvP together. But this is my take, and I think this is some a really important question that is worth making a poll to see what
Yeah.
a community would say.
Guys, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, be sure to check out the Scars of Honor Discord. By the way, I'm not being paid for this. Can you please confirm this?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yes. It's not a paid ad.
I want to let that be known because this is a game, especially after this conversation, I'm a lot more excited about this game, and you're gonna feel that excitement from me. And yeah, I'm not paid, motherfucker. Excuse my French. But yeah, no, it was a joke, not really, but kind of. But yeah, okay. So I think continuing off of what you just mentioned there, guys, be sure to go to Discord, submit your feedback, let your opinions be known. I think a lot of that has a lot to do with how transformative the gear is, though, right? Because there are some games where you are your gear, and you see a lot of this, obviously, with Path of Exile and just ARPGs, where it's like you get this legendary chest piece, and this chest piece allows you to reflect 80% of all damage taken from melee or something like that, right? This is a very transformative piece of gear. Can we expect that type of gear to be present in Scars of Honor, or are the stats in Scars of Honor going to be a little bit more just stat sticks?
So it's a combination of both. You have the stats and you have your chances of whatever it can be rolled on it. But we are also having the passive effects. We call the passive effects of, let's say, it increases your on a specific rate when you've been critical, receiving a critical strike, for example, to give you a shield or something like this.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture between those. So the combination of what the game designers can do is up to their imagination. They can attach whatever they like as a additional passive ability to the item. So it's not just a pool of stats.
When it comes to PvP, are you a fan of using the hard-earned gear and using the build that comes along with your gear? For example, maybe your build specifically as a warrior relies on high crit on critting a lot to proc a lot of shields to stay protected. Let's just say, for example, your build relies on that. If you were to strip that from the PvP instances, you are no longer playing the same type of warrior that you are building. Now, for you personally, is that something that you prefer, or you're okay to strip off? Because there are some people that like that just straight up balanced PvP where it's, no gimmicks. And then some people like to feel the power of their gear, the build that comes from their gear. Where do you stand on this?
To be honest, I think it's borderline impossible to do this in Scars of Honor because of the talent tree. The moment when you have this talent tree and it's so vast, it's pretty much impossible to take these things out. So in Scars of Honor, how I see it working would be the situation where your gear is your gear, your build is your build, and it's up to you for whatever case you design it for. So if you're a PvP player, then make a PvP build. because this is what's gonna stay with you. If you wanna switch to the PV, it's matter of preference, because end of the day, I don't think anyone is just a person who says I'm 50-50. I'm PV and PvP equally. I enjoy them both. 100%, you'll be like, I lean more towards PV or more towards PvP, but it's never like equal.
Okay, when it comes to the gear progression, obviously, I'm assuming you're going to be able to upgrade your gear, right? As you go, there's going to be some form of being able to
Yes.
upgrade your gear. Where are players going to be able? Like, what do you expect players to be doing in order to upgrade their gear? So, for example,
In
if they're
order,
if they're doing
Mhm.
dungeon, like, is it going to be like, hey, in order to get the main mats to upgrade your gear, you're going to be running these dungeons, or is it going to be maybe a little bit more like BDO, where silver or gold is the king currency, and you can buy all the mats on the auction place, or you can farm the mats by killing mobs? What is the gear progression system going to be like in regards to that?
So gear progression system is really tied to the huge replayability which we want to have in the game, and it will be really well connected with dungeon system. So the more you
Okay.
replay them, this is the way you would upgrade them. We don't have currently any plans with specific scrolls, or you go to a blacksmith person and he increases the level of your item. We want you to go there over and over again.
Okay,
This is
gotcha.
how currently we want to approach the upgrade of the gear.
Is there going to be any open world progression systems? Like, for example, I'm going to use BDO as an example again, where BDO, you're going in there, even though it is kind of instanced now to a certain degree. A lot of people are farming mobs out there. Ashes of Creation also took this approach. Quinfall also kind of seems to take this approach, where you're going out there, grouping up with people, killing mobs. Is that a thing in Scars of Honor?
In the leveling, 100% in the leveling process, it's 100% the way to upgrade your items, quests, open world PV activities is definitely the way to upgrade. But when it comes to end content, it's more like dungeons and raids and PvP arena battlegrounds.
Gotcha. So it almost sounds a little bit more in line with a World of Warcraft, kind of.
Kinda, yes, kinda.
Okay, kind of, but not exactly. Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just reiterating it so that I personally understand.
Okay,
So yeah. So
okay.
what about chase items? In some games you have big mythical chase items like the Sword of a Thousand Truths
Mhm.
that only a few people have on a server, right? In Arcade, they had certain world boss drops. That had that was where the weapons were on par with best in slot, but it had an additional effect on it, and it was kind of like a big dick thing. Do you want? Are we going to have chase items in Scars of Honor, or is everyone going to be pretty much in the same gear set?
Man, if we don't have this, what kind of an MMORPG we are? Like, this is 100% the requirement.
Okay, okay. How can we get these chase items? Are they going to be raid drops, or are some of them going to be open worlds? I didn't even ask if you have world bosses as a thing as well.
World bosses is definitely a thing because it's well connected with the rares and the elites, which are in the open world. Definitely a thing. Is it gonna be in early access? Definitely not gonna exist in the upcoming public test. These open world bosses, because we want to focus on other things. We really want to get your feedback, and our attention would be to send you towards the dungeons, because this is where we need the huge feedback from the community. And then there will be other events which are here in the year, or which are where we can shift focus. But to answer from where you would obtain this, I think it's a little bit too soon to speak about these rarities, because the team first needs to go connect them with the lore, decide how exactly you're going to obtain it, what how low the exact drop chance would be. But 100% there will be such rare, and like one in a thousand people would have this.
Gotcha. Okay, so my next question actually ties into the next section, which is gear cap. Gear cap is pretty significant. BDO, it almost feels endless. Obviously, there technically is one, but it is definitely a vertical game. Lost Ark, a vertical game, and then you have games like Guild Wars 2 where it's permanently horizontal. And then you have games like World of Warcraft where it's vertical, but then it stops, and then there's essentially a reset with an expansion every 2 years. This goes into our next section, which is vertical content, vertical/horizontal progression/resets. What are we expecting here with Scars of Honor?
So it's quite closer to vertical. We definitely have these kind of planned resets where we just put a bunch of content that makes people come back and do this. Horizontal is something that we have discussed previously, but we are not really sure how well it will fit with the systems that we have at the moment. It's definitely more connected on the vertical side.
On the vertical side. Okay. Now, are you guys planning on having, obviously, based off of what I've heard, it doesn't sound like you're going to have any hard resets, but do you guys plan on having soft resets, kind of like how Retail WoW does, where there's an expansion every 2 years, bringing in the influx of new players?
Not even new expansions that would create this reset, but the moment when we drop new content, it's like a new dungeon, or it's new tiers in the same old dungeon, or it's a new rooms in the old dungeon. These would basically give you new items that you can obtain, a new higher level of a complexity that would even go to the old dungeons, because we really don't want to go into a situation where we create a new dungeon and the old one is irrelevant. The moment when we introduce new dungeon, we also want to introduce new rooms, new corridors, new mechanics to the old one, so you have the reason to go in both of those, and we will just increase the item level and stuff so that it's a kind of a soft reset.
Okay, understood. Earlier, you mentioned how it was really important for you guys to create a system where new players felt like they could still, I guess, not catch up, but you didn't want to turn away people from being like, oh man, I'm 2 weeks behind. There's no point. I can't catch up, right? Yeah. How are you going to be able to do that in a vertical progression system that has a lot of dopamine hits, almost kind of reminiscent to an ARPG? How are you going to manage that?
There are two ways. So when it comes to PvE, I think it needs PvE is a progression funnel, if you will. But for PvP, it's super easy because, as I said, we have the skill-based modes where you just go there and you will with equalized gear. So there it makes absolutely no difference for you can play PvP and engage with it without having these problems. But when it comes to PvE, these soft resets will help, but we cannot 100% take away the sense of accomplishment for someone who stays there, grinds there, and wants to have the best ultimate, the best gear. We don't want to do that. Take this sense of a feeling away from the player.
Right. I apologize if you mentioned this earlier. I am trying to take notes while I'm listening to your answers, but can you tell me a little bit more about the soft resets that you mentioned earlier?
The soft resets are kind of soft resets in the form of a new content that just increases the item level cap, and it just provides more gear that kind of allows new people to go there and reduces the previous highest to item level to a smaller tier, so people obtain these previously top-notch gear in the lower tiers, while on the higher tiers you have a new fresh content and items and gears that is waiting for. That's the form of a reset. We will never go and just nuke progression.
Gotcha. So essentially the floor is rising as the ceiling rises as well.
Yes.
More or less. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the social and guild content. I wanted to talk to you about this because this is something that you were emphasizing quite a bit earlier on. The social content, guild content, can you kind of give us a brief explanation as to what we can expect with that?
Sure. As I said, for me, MMORPGs are games where the social aspect needs to be highly visible. It needs to be appreciated and needs to be um, a place where you would like to participate. I understand on the other side that there are a lot of people. There are tons of people that are just, I had enough of my day. I just want to go there, and I don't want to be bothered with anything and anyone. And that's perfectly understandable. You can go there. A lot of activities you can do. But as I said, if it's the whole intent is for you to unwind, we want to have in Scars of Honor the ability to just sit down by the campfire, have the cool spot, and just unwind. Don't think about anything. Social is at the root of the design choices for many things that we do. As I said, we are also having these um, gatherable nodes which require you to be in a group with other people to have the
Mhm.
higher materials to get to the better crafting gear that you can produce with it. But then dungeons are highly social things, and why we say Dungeons in Scars of Honor will be more social than in other games, because guess what? After each room that you complete, you need to discuss with these people first the dungeon augmentation. Do we want to hire stakes with a harder dungeon, or are we going to go the safe route? Like, we are implementing things that artificially will make you discuss and just communicate. And in the way, you definitely find some people that would be hard for you to play with, but you also create meaningful relationships with others that you find really like soulmates and in for the same things. So social is super important. Guild, on the other side, is something that is um, at the core of the MMORPG, because guild is what community is. Like you and the amazing community that you guys have in here, that's definitely one great guild
Mm.
that you can run, that you can enjoy together. And guilds, as I said it, they are essential for a system in MMORPGs. Do we want to have more systems for guilds? 100%, 100%. But as I said it, with the limited resources that we have, we can not we should not promise at the moment more than what we can deliver. So if later down the road guilds needs to have guild strongholds and you're super hyped for that, and the community votes, and it's one of the most anticipated systems, we definitely will do that. If we see that a lot of things are happening around guilds and guild wars are also something important, we go and we make that. But that pretty much sums up the whole guild and social content. I would just put one of mine to charge
Oh,
because
you're
it's pretty
good.
much dead on battery.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I can give you. We have an ad that's coming in a couple of minutes here, so maybe you can recharge it during that. But I want to just follow up really quickly. So it sounds like when it comes to the guild systems, there isn't really much currently in the game. You definitely plan on adding things
Yeah,
based off of the player feedback, but as of now, it's just a system that's in the game that allows players to be in a guild, more or less, I
community.
guess, in a community.
Yes.
Cool. How many guild slots per guild are you thinking? Are we thinking like 20, 50, or 1,000?
Exactly. When it comes to numbers, this is the hardest thing for me
Uh-huh.
to answer, because whatever I say at the moment, it is subject to
Yeah,
change. We
exactly.
definitely don't want 20 people to be like that's the top of the guild. Like, it makes
Yeah.
no sense. It needs to be a little bit higher party, and I'm up for that. So it's the ballpark in between. I
In
know that's
between.
the worst
Okay.
answer I could
No,
give,
no, that's totally fine. Yeah,
but
I'm
it's the number
like
that I cannot say
I
at
know
the
this is
moment.
a very biased answer, but for me personally as a streamer, there's nothing more frustrating playing games where you're limited to like 20 to 50 people in a guild. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
it will
Because
make sense.
yeah, because you never have like full attendance and whatnot, and it's just really annoying. I personally love having a lot of members in the guild, and I feel like that only becomes problematic when you have certain systems where it's like, oh, GVG type of thing, and you don't want to be Zerg. But then I
Mhm.
feel like there's ways around that where you can limit how many guild members can participate. But that's just my personal opinion here. I want to continue talking a little bit more about some of the social systems, such as housing, but I want to give it a minute. As I mentioned before, I pushed back the ads as long as I could. I'm out of snooze buttons here. So yeah, we've got another 3-minute ad coming in, and the next one will be an hour later. And maybe we'll finish the
Okay.
podcast by then.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll give you a minute. You could probably charge your earphones there while we're
Yes, I'm
going.
charging already. I'm charging
Perfect.
already. I'm just gonna go use the bathroom and I'm
Perfect.
coming back.
Perfect. Be right back, boys.
Thank you.
Good timing. Good timing. Oh. Yeah, actually synced. Yeah. We got about another minute here, so we'll let that run. I don't know if he has that's perfect. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can. Are you good?
Okay, great. Yes, because my AirPod just disconnected and Mac is making weird glitches every time when it does that.
Do you yeah, the thing is that like the AirPods, when they're charging in the case, they actually charge really fast. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if your other earpod
I'm using that one is losing is having around 20, so the moment when it's pretty much done, the other one will be fully charged. So
perfect.
We're safe. And I hope I can understand what happened with this PC, why it lost internet connection. I mean, Ethernet. It's like you plug the cable and it no longer, it's like dead after the Microsoft update, which is super weird.
Huh. Maybe a coincidence with the cable just dying? Probably not.
Probably not. I have to investigate.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, I think the ad, we got about 10 seconds left in the ad. Where were we? We're talking about, the social systems.
Yeah, the social and the guilds.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so let's continue here. Okay, so the social features. I also wanted to ask you about housing. Housing is a big part of the social features, right? Is that something that's present in the game, that's planned, something that you're taking feedback on?
We had very early in development discussions about housing, and we were kind of assessing the positives and the negatives of that system. First, housing in Scars of Honor will be negative for the monetization model, because housing is kind of taking people out and creating a small chunks in groups. And the essential part when it comes to monetization and cosmetics and stuff is the rights to brag, like the brag rights. So first, that's one reason. Second is, does it really gives the player the same value which pays the cost of our development time, of our investment of money? Would it, because development time is equal money, does it returns the interest with the players? Like, would they spend a lot of time with that feature? And in general, is this a system that resonates to the core audience that we are targeting.
Mm,
Would people prefer to have more raids and dungeons, or for example, or improved guild system rather than housing system? And does this housing system connects to the core roots of the genre which we want to preach? And so far, the answer is no. I
okay.
don't think housing system in MMORPG connects well with the roots of the genre. Although I understand the appeal for in modern days, but I think it shifts the player base from what is the essential what are the essential systems for the game towards something that is nice to have, but it's not in the root. On the other side, I would invest if we need to make housing system. I would 100% vote against behind a guild stronghold. I would prefer people to socialize and make a guild stronghold, which you guys obtain, which can be subject to attacks in future and stuff. Like I would invest in this because I see a lot of gameplay potential there. I see a lot of you experimenting, creating your own stuff, creating role play elements where you, for example, your guild can defend this. And it's like, oh my god, that's a huge drive behind this, rather than just you
Mm,
making your cool, cozy house. I mean, there are a whole genre of that games that will do always better than what you can do in MMORPG. In MMORPGs, we need to be there by numbers. We need to make grand events,
sure.
a lot of people fighting over your house, for example.
Right. I I gotta say, um, instanced housing, I've never disliked them. I always thought they were pretty good. To your point, you guys are not Riot, you're not Blizzard where you have infinite money, right? So yes, development time equals money. That makes sense.
Yes.
However, for me, as someone that does like housing content, but I'm not particularly thrilled at instanced housing content, I absolutely loved the housing content in Arcade, where it was open world, where real estate was a thing. The value of the land was significant. Are you familiar with Arcade's housing system? I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
I've heard a lot of praises on the housing system of Arcade. Me personally, I have not played that game, and I
Mhm.
don't have a personal view on that system. And it's definitely worth a try, but we need to give it a go. But only if we decide that, okay, with the expansion of the game, this is a main focus. I would vote. I would give the community the ability to vote. For example, guild strongholds and guild wars
Right.
and all these activities. And compared to, I'll put this with housing, and I will just see what people will say. If
Sure.
people say, no, man, I really care about housing, and we see a lot of you guys voting on this, then this goes higher on our list. Because as I said in the beginning, I'm not making game for myself. Although I'm not fan of housing, if your community and any other communities are really vocal and everyone is like voting for this,
Right.
it's worth a try.
Right. Yeah, the only reason why I mention it, like personally, Arcade was my favorite game of all time, classic Arcade or vanilla Arcade rather, and they had open world housing zones all spread all across the land, and it really gave
Yeah.
value to the land. And what I noticed is because, especially because you're mentioning you're talking about how big the social driven content is, there were a lot of people that played Arcade, and the open world housing was quite literally their end game. They didn't care about dungeons. They didn't even care about PvP. They just really wanted to build up their houses because they could show it off, because it was in the open
Yeah.
world. It had value. Rather than getting a nice shiny piece of gear, they would have a nice shiny piece of real estate or something in their house that they could show off. And I thought that would tie in quite well with the socially driven content. But I do get how that spreads, the player base across, and could kind of maybe take away people from the main city hubs.
I can tell you a funny story regarding housing and the discussion between should it be instance on
Uh-huh.
open world and whatever people make that's what they do. We also had a discussion should it be blueprint where you just purchase a blueprint and it makes the house
Hmm.
and this is how it looks, or we just give you more like Valheim the ability to build anything. And we had Josh Stripe Hayes at our office and we were discussing with him, and he was like, man, don't do the mistake to give that power into the hands of the player. The first thing
Mm.
that you're going to see the moment when you walk in is a house with the shape of a dick. And I mean, you understand that the moment if you
What's
allow
wrong
them
with
to make
that?
these
What's
things,
wrong with that? Giant penis? You know, you don't want streamers showcasing that? That would be awesome.
yeah, that will be awesome content. But everybody who goes inside, it will be like, oh my god, what I'm seeing in here. And if you give that freedom to
Oh
players, they will
man.
use it.
A
They will
hundred
use it.
percent.
So
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm just telling you this. I'm telling you this from the point of where it was in discussions. It was
Mm,
in discussions. We were even thinking blueprints versus freestyle.
sure.
So it was in discussion, but we evaluated at the end that it's not worth the cost of the development
Sure.
and doesn't resonate that deeply in our understanding so far. Of course, that's a subject to change in future if we see a big demand on
Mm.
this.
I think just a little side nugget here. I think it would be like if you're exploring the possibility of guild bases and guild strongholds, and you don't really want to have like open real estate, but at the same time you don't really want to make it super instance. I think the idea maybe this is useful. Is just a thought that I had. Maybe having like a select amount of guild bases that are in the open world that are earned by the guilds, maybe through PvP and or PvE. Maybe like three guild bases for the top three guilds. Three, whatever that may be. Maybe the PvP is through a GVG system you have in place. Maybe the PvE is through a competitive PvE or something. I'm just something that I thought of that I think
Yeah.
would be pretty cool. But I am with my chat here. It seems like my chat is in favor, majority in favor of having some kind of guild stronghold, because there are a lot of economical benefits to, gold sinks and all these other things. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be definitely pretty cool to have.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so
The cool thing with
yeah.
MMORPG is that the possibilities are endless the moment when
Mhm.
you create the solid foundation and it's a healthy community, it's a healthy game, then the possibilities are endless. You can explore and develop in many different levels.
Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so the next topic is going to be a little spicy, or maybe not.
Okay.
Could be a little spicy, but let's talk about the monetization here now. You
Okay.
have a pretty strong stance against pay to win. What does that even mean? What is pay to win? How do you define pay to win? What can we expect with Scars of Honor?
It's pretty obvious what pay to win is. So there are there are two forms of pay to win. One is that is direct, that you go there and you buy that gear, or you buy crystals which you use to buy gear. The other one is the hidden one. You buy crystals which you sell, for example, for gold, and then you use that gold to buy an item. So there are two forms of pay to win. So anything that allows you to buy power in hidden or in obvious way, direct way, is pay to win in my understanding.
Okay.
This is how I define pay to win. Not there is no difference for me between hidden and direct purchasing of
You're
power.
speaking our language, by
Still
the
pay
way.
to win.
We all agree with you on that. Yes.
Man, I'm an MMORPG player. I'm just always asking myself what I want from that game
Right.
personally.
Right. So no pay to win, no loopholes, no buying this, which you buy. What about carries? In World of Warcraft, you can buy WoW tokens, and then use that gold to pay groups to carry you. Is that something that it's
But
just like,
that's
hey, that's
but
not
that's
what?
the hidden.
Yeah.
But that's the hidden methodology of pay to win.
So no purchasing of currency of any sorts when it comes to Scars of Honor.
Wait. There is a currency which you can purchase, but that currency is called appearance points. And these appearance points are used For example, you find a new weapon, but that new weapon is just looking better, but doesn't have the cool stats on your current one. You want to get the visuals of that new weapon that just dropped. You need to spend money on the appearance points. So this is the currency that you buy in Scars of Honor, but you don't buy gold, which you go and you buy an item. You don't do that. We don't do that in here.
Right. So you are monetizing the transmogging system, essentially, is what I'm
Exactly,
hearing.
and we are heavily monetizing transmogging system. We are monetizing VFXs and skins on the spell itself, so that it doesn't
Okay.
break readability of the game. You know that this is still a fireball, but it's not. Let's say it's not orange. It becomes a little bit reddish, and it's still recognizable that it's the exact same
That it's the
spell,
skill.
but it's a different. So this is where we kind of monetize on. We will have the battle passes as well, which will be purely cosmetic, which is something that you can purchase the moment when we provide more content. And appearance points will be heavily monetized. We are also in a situation right now where we are discussing an optional appearance subscription, so that you just buy that subscription and you don't care about appearance points. You swap as they come. So this is another possibility, which I think we can also ask the chat what is their take on this, because I had a worry saying free to play game and a subscription, but that's an optional subscription and it's a caveat that's important. That way, you just say, hey, I'm paying this optional subscription and I don't care about appearance points. So these are several takes that we are doing. Then there are emotes, which you can purchase and have inside the game. Everything that is heavily cosmetic oriented.
Gotcha. Okay, so when it comes to the appearance points, is it possible to purchase appearance points with in-game gold? Can you earn them by playing the game?
No,
No.
no. This is we need to make money from
Sure.
somewhere, and if we allow this, end of the day, we need to make some profit so that we can sustain that game.
Sure. No, I
We are
yeah.
we are 100% saying one thing: no pay to win. We are exploring the waters with convenience. Is it a bag? And we are exploring. I'm not saying it will be there. It will not be there. I'm saying cosmetics will be there 100%. Pay to win will not be there 100%. Convenience, like bigger bugs, are in discussions, because end of the day, we need to see what will give us more income, so that the game is more stable, more content we provide. It's a fair exchange. It's a fair exchange, and we take example from Path of Exile. They have their stashes and stuff which you can go and you can
Path of
purchase.
Exile.
And we are
Right.
trying to understand if we can incorporate this inside a Scars of Honor and still be fine. Maybe bigger bugs in MMORPGs won't work. Maybe they will. This is something that is a hot topic, and which we definitely would like to hear the community and have a vote on this. But end of the day, we also need to be realistic and say, guys, end of the day, we need to make money from somewhere. I cannot stay here and give you all the correct answers and promise you the best possible game without a clear plan. How can I sustain the studio that will stay behind that game and that will give you that great content that I'm describing, and hopefully we deliver on that promise. So it's a fair balance between these things.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think we all really respect that transparency and honesty. That it really does go a long way. Excuse me. I think the vast majority do not have any issues with paying for cosmetics, and I do want to talk to you about some of those convenience items. But before we do, excuse me, one final question when it comes to the cosmetics: are you gonna look like shit in the game unless you pay, or can you still look relatively cool?
No, you definitely can stay relatively cool, because, as I said, that cool item that you just found. How can we know that that's not the first time that you're receiving that one?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if that's actually the better looking one, and it's the better in stats? What if you just assemble the whole set that you like? We need to constantly plug more sets. And what is important is that first you have the skins that we can definitely sell you. Let's say we create a new tier set, and that's looking in specific way. The paid version will be a little bit of VFX on top, not too much, so that the person who grinded is like, I have achieved nothing. And on the other side, we really want to emphasize the moment when I'm granting you, I'm super honest here. The moment when I give you the better looking item in the game, you're having a way higher incentive to actually buy the points, rather than if I'm first showing you that cool thing only in the shop. If you have two paywalls, it's harder for you to actually buy. So I would give it to you, and if you want to use it, just use the appearance points. So I know it's a relatively predatory there, but guys, end of the day, I need to make ends meet in order this thing to be sustainable and continue. If I'm promising all these things and I'm saying nothing negative here, like, would
Too
you
good to be
believe me?
true. Yeah, exactly.
It's not realistic. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Well, no, like I said, once again, we do appreciate the honesty and the transparency here. It really does go a long way. Let's talk a little bit about those convenience items. This is also something that is oftentimes met with a lot of, it's a controversial subject. Storage space,
Yeah, exactly.
bag space, and these are things that you said you guys are. It is on the table. You're considering it. Nothing's set in stone yet, but you are. Obviously there are different impacts to this type of stuff. For example, with a game like Black Desert Online, where a big part of your character progression is from grinding mobs, collecting trash loot, and you are at a significantly larger advantage. You have that big advantage if you have more weight capacity, more storage capacity, or inventory space, because maybe the spot that you're grinding in gives you a bunch of different type of trash loot, and you end up filling your inventory pretty quick. Then you got to go back to town. It's kind of no different from having like an experience boost to a certain degree, indirectly, more or less. But then other games where inventory space literally means jack shit. It's like you're never gonna fill it anyway, type of stuff. It's like, let's just say, for example, all your progression is just dungeon running. Well, are you going to fill up your dungeon, your entire inventory just running that dungeon? Probably not. Maybe not, for the sake of this example. So it doesn't matter.
To be honest, sorry to interrupt you here, but most likely you will.
Okay.
Because, as I said, dungeons are something that you would replay a lot, and items are constantly shifting their stats. So there is quite a real chance that you will have 5 copies of the same hammer, for example, with quite a different stats. So there is a very good chance that you would keep all these 5 hammers, or at least 3 of them, because these 3 are having these different builds you can do with the talent tree. So it's not trash. It's not trash.
Right.
You definitely need those, and the more you switch between those, it will be well connected. So on the other side, we cannot just go and say 1,000 of stashes for everyone, because this is having a technical depth which we cannot cover. So this is why we still have the higher stashes, the bigger bucks for the people that are supporting and paying or buying those. But it's not that we will flood you guys with trash so that we created a problem. No, in our design philosophy, and it all connects in general, it will kind of require you to have a little bit of a bigger bag.
So yeah, I totally get that. Now, to play devil's advocate here, if Scars of Honor is ARPG-esque, where you're getting a lot of loot, and sure, I'm sure there's some trash loot, but a lot of the items and weapons that you have will have different stats, and you may want to hold on to them for different reasons. This sounds like a system where, just like all ARPGs, inventory space, storage space starts to get pretty flooded. Now, there will be, if that is how the game is designed and you're monetizing storage space and inventory space, there will absolutely be people that accuse you of creating a problem and selling a solution. To that, you say what?
100%. 100% I agree to this. But on the other side, it's an after effect that comes from the main design philosophies, because end of the day, I said the replayability is king. When you are replaying something, you would be there fighting for a little bit better stats, a little bit better stats. So that's the core. And then that creates a problem. That 100%, I totally agree that this creates a problem. But as I said, every design decision that we take, we have a price to pay about it. When I said in the beginning, we cannot go the World of Warcraft route because they have 20 years of making dungeons. And if we go that route, we have lost from the beginning. We need to have the procedural dungeons. We need to have the higher replayability so you stay inside. So I'm choosing that path, and this, just that part that I have chosen over here, forget about monetization. Even for a moment, let's say we never touch backspace. This would create this issue. I'm not creating this issue because I want to make money out of backspace, and out of nowhere, I created a really cool system that connects. It's the other way around. And every design choice that we make have a price to pay. But am I willing to go that route rather than hiding and receiving money from hidden pay to win? 100% I'll take the convenience route. Guys, there are prices that we need to pay. And you see that we are trying really hard to stay away from the bad things. And I mean, we will. But end of the day, if we have another opportunity of some revenue stream that doesn't break the gameplay, and we need to take it. End of the day, as I said, we are not a studio that have endless funding, and we are here for forever, guaranteed.
So when it comes to the convenience items, let's talk about the storage space. Because like you said, it's still not set, it's still being discussed. If you were to monetize storage space / bag space, are you thinking a little bit more in line with Path of Exile's monetization when it comes to that stuff? Or are you thinking more like the Korean MMO style where it's just like straight up $10 for 8 spots, eight spaces or something like that?
No, it's more like Path of Exile, and as I said, they are a great example to us. We really like how they run the company in general, how they approach their community. So it's definitely Path of Exile and Grinding Gear Games here are doing a great example on that side. And yet again, guys, I'm just exploring here and being super honest, and that doesn't mean we will have this in the game. But also I'm not saying there are no discussions. So I'm open for this, and I hope I'm explaining the reasons why this is on the table.
Sure. Well, once again, there are going to be people that consider this a hot topic. There are going to be people that disagree with your take. But one thing that is universally true is that we do appreciate the honesty and the transparency there. It's much better than some other people.
No other way around. No other way around.
Yeah.
No other way around.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. So just to kind of summarize this, no pay to win, convenience such as storage space, bag space is on the table. It's being discussed. If it were to be implemented in the game, then it would be done more in line with Path of Exile. Main monetization focusing on cosmetics, everything cosmetics, which includes possibly optional subs, battle passes, and just straight up payments for whatever cosmetic / transmog systems. Is that fair to say in a nutshell?
Absolutely fair.
Okay.
Absolutely correct.
Perfect. I guess the last question I have in regards to this is, if you were to monetize, well, I guess whether it's cosmetic or convenience, are you looking to monetize per character or per account?
So that's debatable. We will see how it goes. If it's a subscription, like appearance subscription, I think it's account. It doesn't connect a subscription to a character 100%. It will be account. But if you are buying appearance points, I think it's per character. So
or using that's how we can points.
No, you got them on your account, but you would use them on that character, then on another. So
gotcha. Okay, well, once again, we appreciate the transparency there. We can, guys in chat, if you have more questions in regards to the monetization, we do have a Q&A session at the very end of this, which is coming up soon, right after the next category, which is the Scars of Honor schedule. From my understanding, you guys are looking to have some kind of open test in April, and then you're looking to launch in Q4, maybe at the end of this year. Could you tell us what the schedule is right now?
I appreciate the hot take with mentioning the month, April.
I
We
think was
never
that.
mentioned April,
Oh, really? I apologize.
like
I
with
could have sworn I saw that. I apologize. I apologize. No, I could have sworn
yeah,
it
yeah.
was. Wow. Okay. Sorry. I usually don't. Yeah. 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 Sorry. Could
So
you?
it's a spring. So it's a spring
Spring.
because,
Okay.
as I said, we want to polish a little bit of not a little bit, quite a lot of systems before you have your first experience with Scars of Honor,
Mm,
and we need to do that. That's the first major event. Now, outside of this, I am saying that there will be two other major events that will be done
okay.
that year. I will not unveil at the moment
Okay.
anything regarding that because, first of all, we are having really close. We are having a huge event. That is something that I believe we all are going to enjoy.
Fantastic. Guys, I'm not under NDA. I don't have any NDAs. I do not know the date. Okay. I genuinely thought it was not a leak. Okay. I genuinely thought I saw April, but I guess I didn't. I'm mistaken. It's spring. I don't know what. Maybe I was thinking a different game. I don't know.
It
I'm just
was
kidding. I
it,
genuinely, yeah.
it, it was a good time that you tried to slip me on this. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of was. I almost
Okay.
accidentally may have gotten an answer there, but okay, cool. So, first big open test via Steam, available to
Yeah.
everyone I almost said it again, in spring, and then tentative launch. You're trying to get it launched Q4, and then two other major events sometime this year.
Early access launch is still a subject to debate.
Okay.
We want to have something around the end of the year. Is it gonna happen? 100%. I cannot guarantee right now. Why? Because as we discussed previously, early access in our initial plans were a paid early access, so that we have a few number of people inside, so we get a feedback before we release the free to play to everyone. But that is changed. We understood that in a free-to-play game, we cannot put a paywall into early access because this, in all cases, will cause us problems. First, if early access was pay to access it, like you buy the early access, you go and you play, this creates two problems. First, you would go there before the rest, and people can say it's a form of pay to win because you guys went there, understood all of the best talents, so how
Uh-huh.
to obtain gear. And second, if we don't reset this, people will say these people have advanced because they paid and it's a pay to win. But now, if we reset this and you paid, it will be like you people that bought this will be upset. So we said, okay, we dropping the idea of paid early access. We will go early access free to play for all with
Wow.
a founders pack, like a bunch of cosmetics and everything that is like no pay to win. But this is it's a huge risk for us because this is like the launch of the game. If we go early access free to play for all, it's aka the launch of the game. Yes, it's another stamp that you put on top of it. Give us as much as feedback as possible. Not finished product, but in these days and age, how many people will understand this? Like 20-25%. Everyone else who goes there will be like, this is a game that I'm evaluating as a released game. So in that sense, the full release of the game was always scheduled for 2027.
Okay.
And right now we are trying to understand if we can play our cards right with this free to play early access, because we know for certain we want to go free to play early access with founder packs. This is why we are in a debate to find the sweet spot when exactly the early access needs to start, because after that we also don't want to stay 1 year in early access. We want to go out of early access as soon as possible, and the moment when we enter early access we want to have some content on the shelf that we are not providing to you at the moment when early access is launched. But we want to, as I said, in every 3 months we want to have 3 or 4 months we want to have a scheduled content that we provide to you guys, so that the machine is ticking, the
Right.
machine is flowing, and you have the reason to come back.
Are you guys planning on having a reset for the official launch once you're done with early access, or new servers, or is that
No,
still too far?
no, because no. Why would we do so when basically everyone can join from the beginning, and early access will be open for everyone?
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So listen, I appreciate your time. That's going to conclude my segment. Now is the time, boys and girls, to ask your questions here. We'll start doing a short little Q&A section, then see them off. This has been a 3.5-hour podcast, so we can't go on for too long, but I'm going to go ahead and turn on, let me see here. I think, yes, I think for those of you who want to, for those of you who would like to ask questions, we are just going to be answering questions through the chat. And for those of you who have channel points to redeem, you can also spend channel points to have a little bit more of a prio. I think it's like 25k channel points. So this is obviously favoring the regulars that have been in my channel for a while. And that's just gonna make your question stand out a bit more. I can see it logged. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I'm not going to just pull from the channel point redemption. It's just to be able to track it, because we obviously have almost 1,000 people here. It'll be difficult to read every question. So okay, perfect. Let's do this. So on Mage, can I give mana to other players? Asks Veil Mist Warden.
Can you give, as a mage, can you give mana to other players?
Yeah, this is such a random question. It's such a random question. Oh man. Sure. Yeah.
It's called mana healing.
It's called mana healing. There you go. All right. So we got the channel point redemptions coming through. Morphine is asking, having a PoE inspired loot / itemization system, how do you plan the dungeon loot distribution to work? Personal or party roll for it? And is there a loot filter of some sort?
So for the test that is coming, it will be a group loot. So you go there and you get the loot as a group. However, in future we will create, as we receive your feedback, we will create the master loot and all these filters that that are needed. It's a user experience. We put it in that graph, which needs to be extended and improved upon.
Fantastic. DevOps guy CJ wants to know, how long will the playtest be?
So in discussions currently, we are thinking 1 or 2 weeks. We definitely won't stay for a month with open test, because we need to focus. As I said, we are a lean team, and we need to focus on what's next while obtaining the feedback on the focus feature of the test, which will be the procedural dungeons. So 2 weeks will be more than enough for you guys. 1 week or 2 weeks, depending on what we decide, will be more than enough for you to play plenty of dungeons and go there, explore the open world, and play with the talent tree, and give us a feedback as much as possible.
Fantastic. Cody and Beard would like to know, what is the background of whoever is in charge of the skin designing? Is there AI involved with the designing?
No, we don't use AI in any art. We use AI as a speeding tool when it comes to programming, but AI is not writing our game, is not writing our code. It's a tool that helps research of the developers that we have in the game. But when it comes to art, if I'm saying AI, I think they will come with a riot against me.
A lot of people hate that AI. Okay, Tazosaurus would like to know, does the skill tree unlock specific skills or modify existing skills?
Both of them, sir.
Both of them. I'm gonna pull one
both.
from
Yeah.
gonna pull one from chat here. Jai Dragon is asking, can we marry each other in the game?
Oh my God, that's such a cool role play question. Uh, I would love to have that feature in future. Unfortunately, it's not in the works. I don't think it's too complicated to be made, but I would absolutely love to have such feature in the game. It's such a role play cool feature. So thank you for that question.
I actually
If we
back that.
if someday we implement that feature, we need to find that guy and make him marry his wife in the game.
Okay, there you go. Great answer. Um,
Me and you, we need to be there on the wedding
oh yes,
as the
we
best
will be.
buddies.
Well, I mean, okay, listen, I can be there, but you're going to be busy. You know, are you willing? The founder of this project, are you willing to go to this person's wedding?
100%, especially if it's in
Oh,
the game. I promised here, chat. I promised here.
okay. I believe that was from Jai Dragon, so I'll have him or her go to your channel. Okay, maybe drop a sub to his channel, so show some support, and be sure to remind him. Be sure to remind him. Okay, Nova God would like to know, how will Necro work? Minion spam? Question mark. Life stealing like Guild Wars 2? Question mark. Something in between? Question mark.
It depends how you design it with the talent tree. You can make all of your suggestions. You can go summoner, you can go blood mage, you can go in between.
Great. Blue Pikachu would like to know, I gonna play a Ranger bow class. Can you make it OP, please, Cap? I can't believe I just read that. Oh my gosh. Thanks for wasting our time. We're moving on. I'm not gonna even let him answer that. Chowda54, is there a fully functional marketplace for excess gear that you maybe want to sell? Wasn't here for most of the Q&A. If already answered, all good.
Action House. Action House will
Auction house.
be the main hood where the economy will thrive.
McNuggets would like to know, you mentioned PoE as an inspiration for the cash shop. If you decide to sell storage space / bag space, will it be account wide or per character?
This is a thing that I cannot answer, unfortunately, because first we have not yet concluded, okay, we need to do that. I would 100% first put a poll with the community to see the voting, because if you guys, 80-90% of you are voting against that, like that, then it makes no reason to go in further discussion. I think we need to do a great job explaining what exactly is our intent, formulating correctly the question to you, and also informing you why we are thinking about that approach. And I think we can together decide on the correct path. Because if this is something that will put a lot of people away from the game, I'm 100% not doing it. But if this is something that people will not mind, and this will help the health of the company, guys, you understand that it's a win in general. So it depends.
Well,
It quite depends.
little bit of a spoiler alert. If you were to put that poll out, I will sell my kidney if you didn't get 90% to say account wide. Like, for sure, 90% plus will say account wide. Just so you know. Like, regardless,
I was referring more towards, should we have a convenience like backspace as a
Oh,
vote, not
okay.
should
Gotcha.
it be account wide or character wide. It's more like on the
Right.
previous topic, the general
Right.
topic. Should we have it or not?
Yeah. I just think most people are gonna say make it account wide if it were to exist in the
Yeah.
game. That's just my opinion. Okay, Ooctastrophe. Will the crafting market be fully player driven without time gates or artificial resource limits?
Absolutely, 100 player driven, 100% player driven,
No Name Sama. Will
with
there
no
be
limit.
hardcore servers? Death equals delete.
Uh, this is a mode which we call ultra hardcore. However, on our hardcore servers, we are thinking to implement a roulette. The moment when you die, to spin between all of your items and decide which one is going to burst. So this is a moment when you can still continue with your character, and it's a good a dopamine moment, and it's a really cool moment for streamers to participate with communities, which don't screw up the whole progress of the player, streamer, or whomever is participating in the hardcore. Hardcore is a niche player base, but I think it's a very, hardcore player base, which we cannot just leave without a cool realm and cool mode.
Gotcha. X Sika is asking, please explain the open world PvP. Will there be any objectives to take/hold? Will there be flagging to contest spots, etc.?
So, in our current game design documents and plans for early access and 1.0 version of the game, we don't have such systems planned. Can we create something like that in future? 100%, but that's a subject of further evaluation. I answered this in the most corporate way possible.
Still an answer nonetheless. Broseph V, are there spells you can cast while moving?
Yes, quite a lot of those exist, and the talent tree allows you to do that in for spells that usually by design cannot be casted while moving.
Fantastic. No Name Sama, can we edit UI? If yes, what level of custom? Hello, Calamity.
So currently we don't have support for that. We're thinking about implementing this, but yet again, we'll see how up it goes in our priority list.
Perfect. All right, guys. We'll take a couple more questions in the chat, and we'll call it a day here. I can't hold them for too long. Will there be level scaling, or will you feel stronger when you progress more?
You will feel stronger when you progress more, and that's the sense of progression, how we feel it. Level scaling is a system that doesn't connect very well with the random pool stats that exist in items, and it's really hard for us to connect those two systems.
Viathane is asking, will there be a dynamic PvP ranking system like in Ion 1?
I'm not familiar with the Iron One dynamic ranking system. However, I believe I know and I believe that our PvP ranking system is important, and it's intentionally created with the arena, where we can understand who is the best warrior, who is the best PvP player of them all.
Blue Fusion TV, full loop PvP ever or no?
Full PvP loot ever. It's a touchy subject. It's definitely possible in specific areas if we decide together with the community that it's a meaningful thing. For early access and 1.0, we don't have such plans. The full loot is available only in one game, only in one battleground mode, the skill-based one, which we referred previously in the stream. But it's there. You're not losing your own item, your progressive gear. You're using something that's given to you at the beginning of the battleground, and while playing in the battleground, you obtain from chest and other cute players gear, which if you die, you can lose.
Okay, Void Star
but that's
Studio.
Not open world.
Gotcha. No, you're good. You're good. I apologize for cutting you off there. Void Star Studio. Can we get high/low limits on items in the auction house to combat RMT? Question mark. Similar, I believe, similar to BDO. This helps to prevent bots from buying a garbage item for a super high price as a way to transfer gold.
That's definitely an interesting take. And when it comes to bots and auction house at the moment, I really don't want to dig deeper in that aspect, because I might expose some of the systems that we will do to prevent that. It's a well-known risk which we are addressing. I would just put it that way.
Gotcha. Thank you. A few more here. And Estelo is asking, is there only going to be a market, or can we also count on offline shops, so player shops, I believe?
So far, we have no plans for making offline shops. There will be the auction house, which will be the main market, and then, as I said, it's a subject to be developed if we find it useful and needed and highly requested feature.
Just wanted to add on to that. Is there trading, player-to-player trading that's available in the game?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay. Natural Duck. Will you have any systems that allow veteran players to play with newbies without needing to make a new character? For example, if they get a friend of theirs to join if they get a friend of theirs to join the game, excuse me, will they be able to do content together without the veteran being OP and making things too easy?
Yes, that's the skill-based battleground where they'll be equal, and they can definitely go and play together.
Okay, can we make any weapon, or does our class determine our weapon? And do you plan to add a chakram as a weapon? If so, you'll have me as a loyal player. I mean, Jesus, taking advantage of that. Okay, yeah.
So, in general, the weapon is not defining your playstyle. The talent tree is defining the weapon and the playstyle. So, everything resides in the talent tree when it comes to weapon and playstyle.
Gotcha. Vithan is asking, which I feel like I can answer. Will the PvP system work for open world PvP too? There is no open world PvP currently, so I don't think that can be answered. But I feel like I could do your job for you now. But it is something that could be considered, but based off of player demand. Was that good? Was that good? Was that a good answer?
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You're getting better.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it. Okay. All right. Let's go. Last question here. Last question. How are the buffer specs going to work? Will they buff damage, mana regen, or are they just DPS with passive buffs, or all in the buffer? I'm going to let him answer that, Typo, but I would recommend going back to the VOD or the YouTube video and reading or listening to the discussion we had, because it was probably answered back then. But go ahead.
No, so in general, the buffs can do a lot of things. They definitely boost the stats and powers of the character, and there are heavy modifiers on that. On top of that, buffs can be also passives, which can give you certain abilities or a slight chance to receive some effect upon specific event. So it's up to the game design and the specific class and your choice of the talent tree to decide what's possible. Systems wise, the game is capable to provide all of that, and I hope I understood the question and answered in good way.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. We'll go 2 more questions. Can we flag for PvP and open world? Will there be an honor system or honor shop we can spend points for killing people?
So, honor points, you can obtain 100% from Arena and Battleground, and there are specific points that you can obtain only from Arena, so that you can have a different higher level gear which you can get from there. You can you can opt in for open world PvP. Now, it's a subject of discussion. Should we allow you to get honor points from this, because it's a subject to exploit as well, if we allow that. So, on that sense, it's not a certain decision, but yes, you can opt in for open world PvP and at least have the fun aspect of a mass open world PvP battles, which is a must in MMORPG for at least my understanding.
Gotcha. So I guess I do stand corrected earlier from my response, which is there is no open world PvP content currently in the game outside of the opt-in flagging, right? Is that correct?
Correct. That's how it's gonna be for early access and for 0.1. However, on the open world, on the public test that we are going to do in spring, PvP is open, so you can right away engage in PvP combat, and this is intentional because we want to stress test our servers, and we want to see what will happen if you guys decide to make a Canon versus I don't know which other big streamer fight.
Oh, interesting. So the test in spring, it's going to be just forced PvP. I guess forced PvP, like just in the open world, anyone can kill anyone.
Open world. Yeah, exactly. Open world madness in order to stress test as much as possible to the server and understand the problems.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is good comms. Listen up, boys. Just keep that in mind. If you're against PvP, just know that it is specifically for the test because it is not going to be
Yes.
for the actual launch. That's going to be very interesting. Chaos will reign. Actually, yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. I mean, it'll be kind of interesting to see if a lot of people end up liking it. Would you guys consider opening like a PvP specific server where that's just always the rule for early access, or
We
no?
can definitely do that, but we would need to see first the demand. If
Right.
you guys say, man, this is so cool and we are all going to go there, then definitely we do that.
Gotcha. Okay, final question by Julia. Sorry if this has been asked. If yes, ignore it. Will GMs be present in the world chat and in the game world? I feel like this has been a nice thing that has been lost in modern MMOs.
They will be, and it's needed because of many reasons. First, supporting the players with their problems, and last but not least, observing activities that are connected to botting, etc., needs to be prevented.
Amazing. Fantastic answer. Okay, well, that's going to conclude the Q&A section. Mr. I always have trouble with your name. Armagon, right? Yeah.
Venelin, or Armagon.
Venelin, Armagon.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to say Armagon because it's like, you know, your screen name and whatnot. So yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate you coming on, being patient, answering the same questions, repeating yourself, and doing this for the community. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
So for me, it was a huge pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I think that's the way to be open and with the community, because end of the day, we are making a game that is for all of us. And a huge thank you to you once again for bringing the attention to the game. I think we're up to something good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say, I was pretty excited about this game. With my limited knowledge surrounding it, it seemed like it was going to be a pretty, or could potentially be a pretty good one. But after having this conversation, I got to say I'm a lot more excited about the game, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it in April. No. In spring. I tried, boys. I tried. Listen, do me a favor. If you guys are interested in this game, you can show your support by joining their Discord and voicing your feedback. Comment down below. I'm sure he's going to look at the comments down below as well as the Discord. I would highly recommend getting your voices heard through their official Discord, and go follow this man on Twitch. He is quite literally streaming, and you can ask him questions directly in person in real time. So definitely go follow him. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All of his links and the links relative to this game can be found in the description below. Thank you so much. Any final words you'd like to share?
See you in April.
See, wait. Was that a joke, or was that a wait? I don't know.
No. We can still make an interview in April. Nobody said we can.
Oh, the interview. Sure. I should have just cut the video there to make people okay. All right. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe. See you next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, we did it. Bam, there it is. Guys, what did we think?